Ahsoka Tano's journey from being a young Padawan to a revered and influential figure in the galaxy is a testament to her resilience, bravery, and commitment to fighting for what is right. From her early days as Anakin Skywalker's apprentice during the Clone Wars to her pivotal role in the Rebel Alliance and beyond, Tano's story is one of growth, sacrifice, and redemption. Today we're going to be delving deep and making our way through the entire timeline of Ahsoka Tano. Get ready, this one is going to be a doozy. Make sure you like the video if you enjoy it and subscribe for more like this. Let's get right into it. Childhood. Ahsoka Tano was born on the planet Shili to the Togrutas Pav-Ti and Nak-Ti Tano in 36 BBY. At a young age, her mother guided her through a journey where she learned about life and death, encountering a Rakshir feline fearlessly and riding it back home. Recognizing her force sensitivity, an elder Togruta declared her destiny as a Jedi. At 3 years old, Jedi Master Plo Koon discovered her among her people, noticing her innate ability to sense others' intentions and emotions. Around the same time, Tano faced a perilous situation when an imposter attempted to exploit her powers for their own gain by intercepting the signal to the Jedi Order. Despite her efforts to warn her village elders about the imposter's threat, they misunderstood her reluctance to showcase her Force abilities and held disdain towards her. However, the imposter's scheme was foiled in the end. Though the experience left her frightened, she found solace in the guidance of Jedi Master Plo Koon, who taught her calming techniques. Subsequently, she was welcomed into the Jedi Order and escorted to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant by Koon. There, she underwent training as a Jedi Initiate, which helped rebuild her confidence shattered by the imposter's actions. Embracing the life of a Jedi, she embarked on a new chapter with determination and resolve. At some point, Tano embarked on a journey to the Jedi Temple located on the icy terrain of Ilum in the search of a Kyber crystal for her lightsaber. Sensing the presence of the crystals upon the arrival of the Jedi starship, albeit unknowingly, she delved into the temple's cavern with guidance of Great Master Yoda, who assured her that she would recognize her crystal upon discovery. As dusk descended and the cave entrance began to close, Tano frantically scoured for her crystal until she heeded Yoda's wisdom, finding solace in his teachings and finally spotting the crystal's radiant glow. Thrilled by her success, she swiftly exited, equipped with the essential component for her lightsaber construction. Although her expedition might have seemed mundane, her faith in Yoda's guidance restored her trust in others. With the Kyber crystal in hand, she commenced the construction of her lightsaber under the guidance of the Jedi architect droid Huyang, who supervised her progress attentively. Additionally, during her tenure at the Jedi Temple, Tano enjoyed learning from Professor Huyang about the history of the galaxy, particularly favoring the first installment, Galactic War, becoming Skywalker's Padawan. At the age of 14, just months following the onset of the Clone Wars and the first Battle of Geonosis, Tano was assigned to Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker by the directive of Master Yoda. Tasked with learning the intricacies of the Force under Skywalker's tutelage, her training was expedited due to the urgency imposed by the galaxy-spanning conflict. Attaining the rank of Padawan, she was granted the status of Jedi Commander as per the Jedi Military Integration Act. Eager to prove herself as a worthy apprentice, Tano embraced her role wholeheartedly. Yoda orchestrated this apprenticeship to help alleviate Skywalker's fear of loss and attachment, believing that by assuming the role of a mentor, Skywalker would undergo emotional growth and realize the importance of detachment once Tano became proficient enough to operate independently. The Jedi Council dispatched Tano on her inaugural mission to Christophsis with the objective of meeting her new mentor and relaying a message to Kenobi and him, summoning their return to the Jedi Temple. However, upon her arrival, moments after a retreat of separatist forces, Tano discovered that the Republic's attempted takeover of the planet had failed, leaving the generals and their troops ensnared in a protracted battle against overwhelming odds. Kenobi, presuming her to be his new Padawan, was corrected by Tano, who clarified that Master Yoda had specifically assigned her to Skywalker. This revelation shocked Skywalker, who had staunchly opposed the idea of taking on a Padawan. Despite Kenobi's initial confusion, he conceded to the notion that mentoring a Padawan might benefit Skywalker, who remained opposed. Meanwhile, the droid army erected a deflector shield to thwart Republic artillery strikes, hindering their progress. Skywalker accompanied Tano to check on clone captain CT-7567, Rex, who was also puzzled by her presence, referencing Skywalker's earlier resistance to taking on a Padawan. Undeterred, Tano asserted her capabilities, citing Yoda's belief in her and her determination to prove herself. As Skywalker proceeded ahead, Tano inquired of Rex whether she outranked him, to which Rex emphasized that experience outweighed formal rank. Nonetheless, Tano expressed her eagerness to gain experience in the field. Freeing Christophsis. Skywalker and Tano devised a strategy to penetrate enemy lines while Kenobi and his troops engaged the enemy forces to create a diversion. Concealed within a container, the two Jedi maneuvered amidst the passing droid tanks. As they progressed towards the shield's origin, Tano stumbled upon a sensor antenna, inadvertently triggering a group of separatist retail droids. While Skywalker dealt with the ensuing droid onslaught, Tano proceeded to set charges around the generator. Amidst her task, she detected a sneaking battle droid and swiftly dispatched it. However, the fallen droid activated additional retail droids, overwhelming Skywalker. With her master surrounded, Tano spotted a weakened section of the wall behind him, conveniently positioned over his location. Utilizing the Force, she toppled the wall, crushing the encroaching droids and freeing Skywalker from the onslaught. In the city, Kenobi employed a ruse to deceive Separatist General Worm Loathsome, buying precious time until the shield's detonation. Subsequently, Kenobi seized the opportunity to capture the Separatist general. After the battle concluded, Skywalker criticized his new Padawan's recklessness, suggesting she might not have fared well as Kenobi's apprentice. Tano felt disheartened until Skywalker reassured her, expressing gratitude for her assistance during their mission and acknowledging that her audacity might prove advantageous under his mentorship. As Tano and Skywalker settled into their dynamic, Yoda pondered whether having a Padawan would temper Skywalker's impulsive nature. Rescuing Jabba's son and the Battle of Teth. Following the Battle of Christophsis, Skywalker and his newly appointed apprentice received orders to locate and liberate Jabba the Hutt's abducted son, Rata, who had been seized by Separatist forces and taken to the planet Teth. The rescue mission held significant importance as it aimed to safeguard trade routes and shipping lanes for the Republic within Hutt space, situated in the Outer Rim territories. While Skywalker coordinated with the scouting parties assigned to Teth, Tano swiftly bonded with the clone troopers, recounting her role in Skywalker's rescue on Christophsis. When Skywalker informed the troops of the impossibility of landing at the Bomar Order Monastery, Tano encouraged them to stay motivated, prompting Skywalker to remind her to remain humble. Tano responded by expressing her efforts to maintain soldiers' morale. The Republic forces faced the challenge of landing below the towering monastery, with Tano accompanying Skywalker, Rex, and other troopers in an LAAT gunship. Upon landing, they commenced their ascent up the mountain utilizing ATTE walkers and ascension cables to reach the monastery situated atop the peak. Skywalker led the charge, while Tano skillfully deflected incoming laser fire while standing atop a walker. Despite the arduous climb, the combined efforts of the Jedi and clones enabled them to conquer the summit. Once they secured the outer perimeter, they encountered a caretaker droid named 4A7, who divulged the whereabouts of the captive Hutt. Skywalker and Tano embarked on a search mission, engaging enemy battle droids along the way until they finally located the cell holding the Hutt. However, to their surprise, they found that the captive was merely a Huttlet named Rata. Meanwhile, the duplicitous 4A7, serving the Separatists and Dark Acolyte Asajj Ventress, secretly recorded the Jedi's activities. Ventress transmitted the recording to her master, Count Dooku, who subsequently presented the falsified evidence to Jabba, implicating the Jedi in kidnapping. Exploiting the situation, Dooku promised Jabba that he would dispatch his forces to rescue Rata, intending to curry favor with Jabba for unhindered passage through the system. As the approaching droid army loomed and the ailing Huttlet's condition worsened, the Jedi faced the urgent task of finding an alternate escape route to transport the kidnapped Hutt back to Tatooine. Amidst their departure, Ventress intercepted them, leading to a fierce confrontation. Following a brief duel, the Jedi managed to flee aboard a cancel to a nearby hangar where Skywalker's astromech droid R2-D2 awaited them alongside a ship called the Twilight. Making their way to an adjacent platform, they encountered 4A7 once more, whose true allegiance as a spy became evident when 3 battle droids emerged from the ship. Neutralizing the hostile droids, the Jedi commandeered the vessel, escaping from Ventress's grasp. While on the escape, Master Kenobi and Republic reinforcements had arrived, with Kenobi engaging in a duel with Ventress. Now on the ship, Skywalker and Tano attempted to land on a Republic Star Destroyer, but the cruiser's hangar was destroyed, forcing the Jedi to make their way to Tatooine on their own. As the two jumped to hyperspace, Ventress and Kenobi sensed their withdrawal. Kenobi, knowing that Ventress had failed her mission and that her master would be displeased to learn that, managed to gain the upper hand over Ventress until she boarded a Vulture droid to escape capture. Meanwhile, Tano and Skywalker found medicine for the Huttlet, which saved his life as they made their way back to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. However, as they approached Tatooine, they came under attack by 2 Magna Guards in Rogue-class Porax 38 starfighters. Despite destroying the fighters, their ship was forced to crash land in the Dune Sea. Tano, Skywalker, and R2 then took Rata across the Dune Sea to reach his father's palace. However, she and Skywalker sensed Dooku's presence. As Skywalker engaged Dooku as a distraction, Tano, accompanied by R2-D2, escorted Rata to Jabba's palace. However, their journey was interrupted by an onslaught of Magna Guards. Tano valiantly battled them, successfully neutralizing them and reuniting with Skywalker at Jabba's stronghold. Yet their reunion was short-lived, as Jabba, initially intent on executing them, was persuaded to spare their lives upon being confronted by his uncle Zero. Senator Padme Amidala then unveiled Zero's treachery, revealing his collusion with Dooku in orchestrating Rata's abduction. Acknowledging the truth, Jabba relented, sparing Tano and Skywalker. They were then rescued by Master Kenobi and Yoda. The Malevolence. At a certain point, Kenobi shared with Tano the tale of how his own master, Qui-Gon Jinn, discovered Skywalker due to his remarkable reflexes. Amidst the pursuit of the Confederacy's formidable new warship, the Malevolence, a subjugator-class heavy cruiser armed with devastating mega-ion cannons capable of crippling entire fleets, Tano and her master were tasked with safeguarding the staging area in the Bith system. Contacted by Plo Koon, who had tracked the enemy vessel to the Abrigado system, Tano urged her master to provide assistance upon losing contact with Koon's transmission. However, Skywalker insisted on seeking authorization from the Chancellor and the Jedi Council. During the subsequent council meeting, despite Tano's plea to search for survivors after Koon's transmission went silent, both the council and the Supreme Chancellor rebuffed her. While Skywalker initially complied with the directive to protect Republic convoys, he ultimately agreed with Tano's conviction that they must pursue the search for survivors. Despite initial setbacks and orders to abandon the search, Tano's intuition led them to Koon's location. Rescuing Koon and his clone troopers, they gleaned crucial intelligence about the Malevolence's ion cannon capabilities. As the Malevolence closed in on their position, Tano skillfully maneuvered the Twilight to evade detection, concealing their presence within a debris field. Despite a close encounter with the enemy vessel, Skywalker's adept piloting enabled them to evade destruction and escape to safety. Following their assignment to Shadow Squadron, tasked with eliminating General Grievous and the Malevolence, Tano and Koon harbored doubts about the feasibility of the mission, recognizing Grievous's formidable defenses. Upon learning of Grievous's attack on a medical convoy in the Rendelia system, Skywalker deduced his next target, the Republic's clandestine Outer Rim Medical Center near the Khalida Nebula. As they set out in pursuit aboard their starfighters, with Tano serving as Skywalker's gunner, they encountered obstacles in the form of Nibre Mantas within the nebula. Despite facing adversity, Tano and Shadow Squadron successfully reached the medical station. However, their triumph was short-lived as the Malevolence arrived, prompting a fierce aerial battle. Tano's quick thinking and adept marksmanship proved instrumental in downing numerous enemy vulture droids. When Shadow Squadron faced mounting losses, Tano urged Skywalker to target the Malevolence's ion cannon, a strategy that ultimately led to the disabling of both its ion cannons and hyperdrive. Reuniting with Kenobi aboard the Resolute, Tano detected Senator Padme Amidala's Naboo ship approaching the battlefield. Amidala's capture by a tractor beam prompted Skywalker to mount a rescue mission. Tano remained on the bridge with Koon and Admiral Yularen, providing guidance as Skywalker and Kenobi navigated the Malevolence to rescue Amidala and C-3PO. Despite facing communication interference from Grievous, Tano watched with relief as Skywalker, Kenobi, and Amidala narrowly escaped, ultimately leading to the Malevolence's demise as it crashed into the dead moon of Antar. The Battle of Bothawoy and searching for R2. Following the Republic's setback at Falleen, Tano, along with Skywalker and their fleet, were deployed to Bothawoy to defend it from impending attack. Despite agreeing with Kenobi's suggestion to retreat, Tano remained steadfast by her master's side when he opted to stand their ground. Taking her place in the command center aboard the Resolute, Tano witnessed as Skywalker, R2-D2, and Gold Squadron engaged Grievous's formidable fleet. As Grievous's forces bore down upon them, Tano sprang into action, signaling clone Captain Rex and his ATTEs to launch a surprise attack from the cover of nearby asteroids. Their strategic maneuver decimated the bulk of Grievous's fleet, yet the elusive general managed to slip away, evading capture once more. Despite Grievous's escape, Tano's quick thinking and decisive actions played a crucial role in securing a significant victory for the Republic forces. After Skywalker's starfighter collision left him injured, Tano accompanied her master on a mission to retrieve R2-D2, who had been left behind. Despite Skywalker's skepticism, Tano remained optimistic about R3-S6, R2's temporary replacement. However, her attempts to reassure Skywalker of R3's capabilities fell short, as Skywalker remained adamant that R3 could never replace R2. Boarding a salvaging ship piloted by Trandoshan scavenger Nacht, Tano and Skywalker found themselves ambushed by IG-88 assassin droids activated by R3, who was secretly allied with the Separatists. Although their search for R2 proved fruitless, they continued their quest, unaware that Nacht was also colluding with General Grievous and harboring R2 in secret. Subsequently, Skywalker fell into Grievous's trap due to R3's sabotage, prompting Tano and Rex to mount a daring rescue mission to extricate him from the General's clutches. Despite Tano's persistent defense of R3, Skywalker's frustration mounted as they remained no closer to locating R2. Despite the setbacks, Tano remained determined to uphold her belief in R3's potential, even as the search for R2 grew increasingly perilous. Upon receiving a distress signal from R2 aboard Nacht's ship, Tano and Skywalker tracked the transmission coordinates to Grievous's separatist listening post on one of Ruusan's moons. To evade detection, Tano, Skywalker, R3, and a team of clones embarked on a daring skydiving mission from the Twilight onto the station's surface, using lightsabers to breach their entry point. Once inside, while Skywalker set out to rescue R2, Tano and the clones began planting explosives throughout the station. However, their progress was impeded when they encountered a formidable droid force, leading to a fierce confrontation. Unbeknownst to them, R3 had betrayed them, alerting Grievous to their presence. Amidst the chaos, Grievous himself descended upon them, swiftly overwhelming the clones and cornering Tano. Despite her initial confidence, Tano found herself outmatched by the cyborg general. In a desperate bid to buy time for her comrades, Tano engaged Grievous in a lightsaber duel, but soon realized she was no match for his prowess. Recognizing the dire situation, Tano devised a plan to distract Grievous while the clones continued with their mission. As she lured Grievous away, she narrowly escaped his clutches and regrouped with the team in the hangar, where they had successfully rescued R2. Boarding the Twilight, they made their daring escape just as the station erupted in a fiery explosion, narrowly evading Grievous's relentless pursuit. Capture of Viceroy Gunray. Following the successful capture of Separatist Viceroy Newt Gunray by Padme Amidala and Senator Anaconda Farr on Rhodia, Ahsoka Tano and Master Luminara Unduli were assigned the critical duty of overseeing Gunray's transport to Coruscant aboard the Tranquility, where he would face trial for his crimes. Senate commandos, led by Captain Faro Argius, were also dispatched to provide additional security, much to Tano's initial skepticism regarding the necessity of such measures for a single Neomoidian prisoner. However, Master Unduli cautioned Tano about potential hidden agendas and the possibility of allies plotting Gunray's rescue. Indeed, their concerns proved valid, as Count Dooku had already dispatched his lethal assassin, Asajj Ventress, to execute a daring rescue mission to extract the Viceroy. As Tano and Unduli attempted to interrogate Gunray, tensions escalated, with the Jedi Master reprimanding Tano for her impatience. Suddenly, Ventress and her super battle droids breached the Tranquility's hull, plunging the ship into chaos and jeopardizing the safety of everyone aboard. Left to guard Viceroy Gunray while Master Unduli and Commander Gree dealt with the invading droids, Tano found herself face to face with the formidable Asajj Ventress, who had infiltrated the ship unnoticed. Despite the perilous situation, Tano's confidence remained unshaken as she engaged Ventress in a fierce duel, trading taunts and blows. However, Ventress proved cunning, exploiting a moment of distraction to free Gunray and ensnare Tano behind an energy shield in his holding cell. Fortunately, Master Unduli arrived in time to liberate Tano, allowing them to confront Ventress together. Yet Ventress's treachery knew no bounds, as she triggered explosives planted in the engine room, incapacitating both Jedi and making her escape. Despite Tano's eagerness to pursue Ventress, Master Unduli urged caution, prompting a tense standoff between obedience and defiance. Ultimately, Tano chose to disobey, rushing to her master's aid just in time to thwart Ventress's lethal strike. With renewed resolve, the two Jedi united to face Ventress once more, but the cunning assassin slipped away yet again, this time with Gunray and Republic turncoat Faro Argius, leaving Tano and Unduli thwarted in their mission and grappling with the bitter taste of defeat. Vancor. Following her masters and Obi-Wan's entrapment in a cave on the crystalline world of Vancor following a crash landing during a confrontation with Count Dooku, Tano spearheaded a daring rescue mission. Accompanied by a small team of clone troopers, Tano swiftly blasted apart the collapsed cave entrance, freeing Skywalker and Kenobi, who had succumbed to the effects of a noxious green gas inadvertently released within. Once the Jedi were safe, Tano and her team swiftly resealed the cave entrance, preventing the swarm of Gundarks trapped within from escaping. In a display of swift action and teamwork, Tano ensured the successful rescue of her mentors while containing the perilous situation within the cave. Stranded on Meridan, Tano and Skywalker, accompanied by a Republic fleet of gunships, were deployed on a critical mission to evacuate Jedi Knight Aayla Secura from the clutches of Separatist forces following the devastating defeat of her fleet at the Battle of Quell. Amidst the chaos of the battle's aftermath, Tano, Skywalker, and their clone battalion managed to breach Secura's besieged ship, joining forces with the Twi'lek Jedi and her remaining troops. With Skywalker sustaining injuries from a Separatist attack, the group faced a race against time to escape the relentless onslaught. Leading Secura and a handful of survivors from her battalion, including Clone Commander Bly and others, Tano and Skywalker embarked on a harrowing journey towards safety aboard a cruiser. However, their plans were thwarted when Skywalker sustained grave injuries while shielding the group from an explosion, prompting an urgent decision to prematurely initiate a jump to hyperspace. The abrupt maneuver forced the cruiser to crash land on the remote planet of Meridan, narrowly avoiding a collision with a nearby star. Despite the unexpected setback and the alarm of Admiral Yularen, the survivors found themselves thrust into a new struggle for survival on the unfamiliar terrain of Meridan. Stranded after the explosion, the group improvised a makeshift camp using salvaged parts from the wreckage. Concerned for her injured master, Tano initially volunteered to tend to him alongside Rex. However, Secura urged them to unite in seeking aid from the local inhabitants instead. Reluctantly acquiescing, Tano joined Secura and Commander Bly on a scouting mission, leaving Rex to watch over Skywalker. During their journey, Tano confided in Secura about her inner turmoil regarding the Jedi Code's prohibition on attachments juxtaposed with the need for compassion. In a heartfelt exchange, Secura shared her own struggles, recounting how she overcame similar conflicts with her former master. Their conversation was abruptly interrupted when they were ambushed by a pack of Mastiff Fallones, resulting in the loss of several clone troopers. After a perilous trek, they finally reached a Lurman village, led by Elder T. Wat Ka and his son Wag Tu. Initially hesitant to aid the Jedi, Wat Ka eventually relented, agreeing to send his son with Tano to retrieve Skywalker for medical assistance, with the condition that Secura remain behind as a guarantee. Tu and Tano successfully returned with Skywalker, and Tu utilized native healing remedies to tend to his wounds. However, their respite was short-lived, as Separatist forces led by Loch Durd descended upon the village, ostensibly to offer protection. Realizing the imminent danger posed by Durd's superweapon, the Defoliator, the Jedi chose to evacuate the village to prevent it from becoming collateral damage. Upon discovering the Separatist base and their heinous intentions, the Jedi took a stand to protect the villagers. Initially reluctant to involve themselves in the conflict, Wat Ka had a change of heart after witnessing the Jedi's selfless efforts in repelling Durd's forces and safeguarding the village from destruction. Expressing his gratitude, Wat Ka thanked the Jedi for their bravery, signaling a newfound unity between the Lurman and their unexpected allies. Containing the virus. After the sudden disappearance of Senators Padme Amidala and Jar Jar Binks on Naboo during her investigation on a viral outbreak among the natives, Tano, Skywalker, and Kenobi were dispatched to Theed. Upon arrival, Skywalker sent Tano with Gungan native Peppy Bo to investigate the swamps where Amidala and Binks were last seen. Inadvertently, they triggered a spy camera, which they managed to hide from, indicating the presence of an underground bunker beneath the swamp. Acting on the instructions of Kenobi and Skywalker, Tano infiltrated the facility by dropping a thermal detonator down one of the exit hatches, allowing for easier entrance. Tano and Rex discovered that Dr. Nuvo Vindi had a secret laboratory underneath the ground, and that he was responsible for the creation of the virus that he called the Blue Shadow virus. They then distracted Vindi's droids, allowing Kenobi and Skywalker to infiltrate the facility quietly. The Jedi captured Vindi before he could detonate the bombs inside the facility and thus release the Blue Shadow virus into Naboo's atmosphere. However, unbeknownst to anyone, one of Vindi's servant droids had stolen one of the bombs before it could be deactivated by Kenobi and the clone bomb squad. Before the facility could be properly evacuated, the servant droid activated its bomb shortly before destroying himself, releasing the virus. Amidala triggered the alarm in time, shutting down the facility and preventing the virus from escaping to the outside. Tano, trapped inside, made it to a safe room along with several other clones, but was unfortunately contaminated. While her masters attempted to find a cure, Tano and Amidala worked together to prevent any droids from escaping the facility and thereby releasing the virus into Naboo's air. Eventually, thanks to Jar Jar's clumsiness, Amidala also became infected, and her and Tano's conditions worsened as time went on and many clones died. At one point, Tano collapsed and fell unconscious from the effects of the virus. Luckily, Skywalker and Kenobi were able to obtain a cure, stop the virus, and rescue Rex, Amidala, Tano, and the surviving clones. Battle of Ryloth. During the Battle of Ryloth, Tano assumed command of her own squadron for the first time, leading Blue Squadron into combat alongside her master. Despite being advised to retreat, she led her squadron headfirst into a trap set by Captain Martuk's separatist blockade. The ensuing ambush resulted in heavy losses for Tano's squadron, leaving her devastated and ridden with guilt. Despite her remorse, she accepted full responsibility for her actions when reprimanded by Skywalker, acknowledging her failure to follow orders. In a daring maneuver devised by Skywalker, the Defender was sacrificed to cripple the separatist blockade, clearing the path for Tano to lead the remaining Republic forces to victory. Despite her lingering anguish, Tano reluctantly assumed leadership once more, successfully coordinating her squadron's assault on the blockade while ensuring the safety of the Resolute through the strategic maneuvers. With the blockade eliminated, the Republic began the liberation of the Twi'lek people. Continuing their efforts, Tano and Skywalker provided crucial air support in the defense of Lesu against separatist bombers. Their efforts, combined with the Republic's determination, led to the defeat of the separatists and the liberation of Ryloth from Dooku's grip. Through their valor and resolve, Tano and Skywalker played instrumental roles in securing the victory for the Republic and restoring freedom to the Twi'lek homeworld. First Battle of Felucia. During the First Battle of Felucia, Tano, Skywalker, and Kenobi found themselves facing overwhelming separatist forces. As the Republic's evacuation squad led by Plo Koon arrived to extract them, Tano, despite being urged by both Kenobi and Skywalker to retreat, adamantly persisted in engaging the battle droids. Refusing to back down, Tano continued to lead the fight until her master ordered her and her troops to board his gunship. Reluctantly obeying this command, Tano narrowly avoided disaster as the clone turbo tank she had previously occupied was destroyed by enemy fire shortly after her retreat. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Tano acknowledged the necessity of retreat, recognizing that her decision to comply had potentially saved her life. Following her actions during the battle, Ahsoka Tano faced the scrutiny of the Jedi High Council. Admitting her mistake and not retreating promptly, Tano acknowledged being caught in the moment. Despite Skywalker's attempt to shoulder the blame, citing that he had given Tano too much freedom, Master Windu dismissed his plea and assigned Tano to guard duty in the Jedi Archives alongside Master Jocasta Nu, providing her with time to contemplate her disobedience. When Tano inquired about the duration of her punishment, Windu extended it as a disciplinary measure. However, Tano's guard duty took an unexpected turn when skilled bounty hunters Cad Bane and Cato Parasiti infiltrated the temple disguised as Jedi. Informed of the infiltration by Master Yoda, Tano confronted Parasiti, who had assumed the guise of Jocasta Nu, engaging her in a brief lightsaber duel and ultimately apprehending her. Meanwhile, Bane succeeded in stealing a holocron, leaving the Jedi with a clue regarding his next target, Bala Rapal, the keeper of the Kyber memory crystal. While Kenobi remained on Coruscant to pursue Bane, Tano and Skywalker embarked on a mission to the Deveron system to apprehend the bounty hunter. Confronting Cad Bane. In the Deveron system, Tano and Skywalker's cruiser engaged Cad Bane's separatist fleet in a fierce battle, as the cunning Duros bounty hunter had already captured Bala Ropal, the keeper of the Kyber memory crystal. Infiltrating Bane's frigate, the two Jedi sought to rescue Ropal, utilizing R2-D2 to access the ship's computer and locate the captive. However, their efforts were in vain as they arrived too late, discovering only his lifeless body within the detention block. Undeterred, Tano and Skywalker pursued Bane to the ship's gunnery room, where a skirmish ensued with Bane and his battle droids. Despite the odds, the Jedi managed to reactivate the artificial gravity, allowing them to continue their pursuit. In a final confrontation in a narrow corridor, Tano confronted Bane alone, determined not to let him escape. Engaging in hand-to-hand combat, Tano initially gained the upper hand, disarming Bane. However, Bane swiftly turned the tables by incapacitating Tano with a paralyzing electric shock, rendering her unconscious. Bound and held captive by Bane, Tano became a bargaining chip in the bounty hunter's scheme as he stole her Padawan braid, intending to lure Skywalker into a trap in hopes of securing a ransom or achieving his other nefarious goals. After narrowly escaping Cad Bane's deadly trap, Tano and Anakin Skywalker regrouped, with Tano expressing remorse for disobeying her master's orders once again. However, Skywalker reassured her, shouldering the blame for the mission's failure and absolving Tano of any wrongdoing. Tasked by the Jedi Council to apprehend Bane on Naboo, Tano and Skywalker successfully intercepted the bounty hunter's attempt to abduct the Force-sensitive infant Ruru Page. Engaging Bane in a confrontation in the infant's bedroom, Tano wielded her lightsaber against him, ultimately leading to his capture. With Bane in custody and the child safely returned to its mother, Tano reclaimed her stolen braid. However, the victory was short-lived, as Tano and Skywalker learned of Bane's involvement in the abduction of other Force-sensitive children. Determined to rescue them, the Jedi tracked Bane to Mustafar, where where they discover the captive children in one of Darth Sidious's clandestine facilities. Engaging in fierce battle against surgery droids, Tano and Skywalker successfully liberated the children, ensuring their safe return to their families. Despite their efforts, the Jedi were disheartened to discover that Bane had once again eluded capture. Returning to the Jedi Temple, Tano faced disappointment from the Council, yet remained steadfast in her resolve to continue her pursuit of justice alongside her master. An unlikely alliance. During their investigation of the missing medical station over Felucia, Tano, Skywalker, and Kenobi unexpectedly stumbled upon a separatist vulture droid base. Following a fierce skirmish with one of the vulture droids, the Jedi were forced to crash land on the planet's surface. There, they encountered a small Felucian village that appeared deserted at first glance. However, they soon discovered a group of farmers in hiding, seeking protection from a gang of pirates led by Hondo Ohnaka. Under the guardianship of the bounty hunters, the Jedi learned that they were defending the village from the relentless attacks of Hondo Ohnaka's pirate gang. Recognizing the villagers' vulnerability, the Jedi resolved to train them in self-defense, empowering them to protect their home from future threats. Despite the villagers' lack of combat experience compared to clone troopers, Tano acknowledged their rapid progress in learning, but understood the need to adjust her approach to their training. When Ohnaka and his pirates launched an assault on the village, the newly trained villagers put their skills to the test. During the chaos of the battle, Tano came to the aid of Serapis, a seemingly imposing figure concealed within a massive suit of armor. However, when she discovered that they were actually a diminutive Sori, vulnerable beneath the bulky armor. With Tano's encouragement, Serapis shed the armor and embraced his inner strength. Together with the villagers, the Jedi successfully repelled the pirate attack, forcing Hondo Ohnaka to retreat after realizing the futility of further aggression. Grateful for the Jedi's assistance, Sugi provided them with transportation back to the Republic lines aboard her ship, cementing a newfound alliance forged in the crucible of conflict on Felucia's surface. Second Battle of Geonosis. During the Second Battle of Geonosis, Ahsoka Tano fought alongside her master, Anakin Skywalker, as well as Jedi Masters Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luminara Unduli, and Ki-Adi-Mundi. Their objective was to recapture the Geonosian and Separatist leader Poggle the Lesser and dismantle the Geonosian droid foundries. Early in the mission, Skywalker and Tano's gunship was shot down, but they survived and pressed on, engaging the Geonosian defenses with determination. Alongside Captain Rex and surviving clone troopers, they assaulted a formidable Geonosian fortress blocking their path. Scaling the fortress walls, Skywalker and Tano swiftly dispatched the droid defenders before breaching the fortress and reuniting with Ki-Adi-Mundi's forces, which had been separated from the main group. Working together, Tano and Skywalker strategically deployed electromagnetic pulse grenades to neutralize enemy cannons, allowing ATTEs to advance and destroy the shield generator. With the generator disabled, the remaining Geonosians were compelled to surrender. Despite the seriousness of the battle, Tano and Skywalker shared a moment of playful banter as they compared their respective kill counts, though Ki-Adi-Mundi's tally outmatched both of theirs. Their victory at Geonosis marked a significant blow to the Separatist war effort and demonstrated the effectiveness of the Jedi-led Republic forces in combating the enemy. During the briefing for the next stage of the mission, Tano became increasingly frustrated with her master as he continually interrupted her. She felt that she had not yet earned his complete trust. Master Unduli and her Padawan Barriss Offee joined the planning session, and Tano was paired with Offee for a crucial infiltration mission to destroy the droid foundry from within. Their plan involved navigating the treacherous underground catacombs beneath the Geonosian facility, while Skywalker and Unduli led the frontal assault with their respective clone trooper units. Despite initial reservations due to their differing personalities, Tano and Offee quickly bonded and proved to be an effective team. As they reached the reactor room, they encountered one of Poggle's super tanks and were ambushed. Offee managed to neutralize the droid drivers, allowing them to seize control of the tank. With no other options, they decided to sacrifice themselves by using the tank to destroy the reactor, thus collapsing the foundry. Miraculously, they survived the explosion but were buried under the rubble. Tano ingeniously used her comlink to send a distress signal, leading to their eventual rescue by Skywalker and Unduli. Despite the perilous situation, both masters were relieved to find their Padawans alive. Unduli reassured Tano that her master had never lost faith in her abilities, which provided Tano with a newfound sense of confidence and reassurance in her relationship with Skywalker. Incident aboard TB-73. After the rescue of Master Luminar Unduli and the death of Queen Karina the Great on Geonosis, Tano and Offee were tasked with transporting medical supplies from Geonosis to Mace Windu on Dantooine. They boarded the medical frigate TB-73 near Ord Cestus, unaware that several Geonosian brainworms had been smuggled aboard by the infected clone trooper Scythe. As the brainworms began infecting the ship's crew, Tano and Offee found themselves under attack by the worm-controlled clone troopers. They initially defended themselves in the mess hall against troopers Ox and Edge before facing off against Trap, who Offee was forced to kill in self-defense. Tano used her lightsaber to kill Trap's worm as it emerged from his mouth. Realizing they were outnumbered, Tano and Afi retreated to the cargo hold, where they entered the ventilation system to evade the infected clones. They split up, with Tano heading to the communication room to warn Jedi Master Kit Fisto of the dire situation, while Afi went to disable the ship's thrusters. Upon making contact with Fisto, Tano was instructed to dock at the medical base despite her concerns about the brainworms spreading. She updated Skywalker on the situation before ending the transmission. However, she was suddenly ambushed by Afi, who had been infected by one of the brainworms. The two engaged in a fight as Tano attempted to break the creature's influence over her friend's mind. Unable to do so, she escaped into the ventilation system, now the only individual on the ship not under control of the worms. After learning from Skywalker that the brainworms were affected by cold temperatures, she ruptured the coolant system to decrease the temperature inside the ship, inhibiting the brainworms' control. Afi confronted her again on the bridge, but Tano managed to temporarily release Afi from the worm's influence with a blast from a ruptured coolant pipe. Instead of killing Afi as she pleaded, Tano killed her brainworm as it emerged from Afi's mouth. When the ship docked at the medical base, Kit Fisto found a barely conscious Tano cradling her unconscious friend. The two Padawans were taken to the medical bay to recover. As Tano reflected on what might have happened if she had killed Afi, Skywalker attempted to console her, believing that she had made the right decision to save her friend. Later, at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Tano and Afi watched a transmission of General Grievous torturing Master Eth Koth. They comforted several younglings who witnessed Koth's suffering and then took the younglings away at Master Yoda's request while the others planned a rescue mission. Adventures, an important lesson. At a later time, Tano and Skywalker pursued the wanted Weequay arms dealer Kar Affa in the slums of Coruscant. They tracked Affa to a dilapidated bar where Skywalker instructed Tano to wait while he apprehended the criminal. Affa's sudden arrest caused a commotion, allowing the small Patrolian pickpocket Banamu to steal Tano's lightsaber from her belt. Feeling ashamed, Tano refrained from admitting her loss to Skywalker and instead went to the archives to track down the thief upon returning to the temple. There, she encountered the elderly Jedi Master Tera Sinube, who agreed to assist her in finding her missing lightsaber. Initially frustrated by Sunube's preference for patience over speed, which differed greatly from her own approach, Tano eventually came to respect the old Jedi Master's methods. They eventually located the lightsaber in the possession of underworld criminals Cassie Cryer and Ione Marcy. Tano engaged in a frantic pursuit with Cryer throughout the city, but the Terrellian Django jumper proved too swift for the young Padawan and managed to evade capture. However, Tano and Sinube ultimately succeeded in reclaiming her lightsaber from Cryer. Following the chase, the Elder Jedi asked Tano to share the lessons she had learned from him with young Jedi initiates. Hunting Aurra Sing. Following their rescue mission of Skywalker and Windu from the wreckage of the Venator-class Star Destroyer Endurance on Vancor, Tano and Master Plo Koon embarked on a journey into the depths of the Coruscant underworld. Under the guise of associates of the bounty hunter Castus, they sought to uncover leads on the whereabouts of bounty hunter Aurra Sing, who had sent a threatening transmission to the Jedi along with a young Boba Fett. While Tano managed to acquire a lead, their presence drew unwanted attention at a cantina, leading to a tense confrontation before the Jedi decided to leave. Their next destination was on Florum, where they located Sing in another cantina. The situation escalated rapidly when Fett initiated a diversion, allowing Sing to escape while Boba was apprehended. Tano skillfully pursued Sing on a speeder bite while Koon rescued the hostages. Eventually, Tano caught up with Sing as she attempted to flee in Slave 1, causing enough damage to make Sing lose control, resulting in a fiery crash. Undercover on Mandalore. Shortly thereafter, Tano was assigned to Mandalore for an undercover operation aimed at rooting out corruption within the Mandalorian government and providing guidance to Mandalore's youth, including Duchess Satine's nephew Corky Kryze and his friends Amos, Lagos, and Sony, regarding ethical and public-serving behavior. Master Yoda, believing that a young Padawan could effectively communicate with Mandalore's populace, entrusted her with the task, and she was accompanied by Skywalker. Upon her arrival, Tano had to relinquish her lightsaber due to regulations prohibiting off-worlders from carrying weapons. After meeting the Duchess and Prime Minister Almec, she found herself embroiled in a plot orchestrated by a group of students, led by Kryze, who were inspired by her teachings to confront a black market conspiracy. Advising caution, Tano reminded Kryze of the complexity of the situation and the limits of individual efforts. When the cadets were apprehended by the Mandalorian Secret Service en route to meet with Almec, Tano intervened to rescue them. Together they exposed the scheme, ultimately discovering Almec's involvement. However, their attempt to inform the Duchess was thwarted when they found her missing and her guards slain. Tano devised a plan to rescue her, utilizing a mind trick to bypass the guards, but Almec, anticipating their move, incapacitated her during the rescue attempt. As Almec coerced the Duchess into signing a false confession, accusing her of treason, the cadets arrived just in time to assist Tano in defeating Almec and his accomplices. The return of Sing. After her commendation by the Jedi Council for her actions on Mandalore, Tano was instructed to remain at the temple while her master led the 3rd Legion to Balith to aid in its civil war. During this time, she experienced a troubling dream involving Aura Singh, whom she believed to be deceased following their last encounter. The vision revealed Singh's intention to target Senator Amidala. Acting on her premonition, Tano warned Amidala of the imminent threat from Singh. Despite the warning, Amidala proceeded with her preparations for the speech at Alderaan's refugee conference, with Tano permitted to accompany her as additional security. Upon their arrival, Tano identified the location of Singh's planned attack and alerted Amidala and Captain Typho. Despite her efforts to thwart Singh, the assassin managed to wound Amidala before escaping. Determined to ensure Amidala's safety, Tano devised a plan allowing the senator to deliver her speech remotely while remaining in her quarters. However, Tano sensed that Singh had discovered Amidala's whereabouts. Rushing to her aid, Tano intercepted Singh's attack, engaging in a fierce battle until Singh incapacitated her. Fortunately, Amidala intervened and stunned Singh, allowing Tano and Amidala to return safely to Coruscant. Upon their return, Tano briefed Skywalker and Master Yoda on the events, identifying Zero the Hutt as Singh's employer, who sought revenge for her interference in his earlier plans during the war, rescuing the daughters of Papanoida. In an attempt to coerce the planet Pantora into joining the Separatists, the Trade Federation initiated a blockade over the planet and kidnapped Chairman Papanoida's daughters, Chi Ikwe and Che Amanwe Papanoida, to personally pressure him. Upon learning of the situation, Anakin Skywalker dispatched Tano to investigate independently of the Jedi's official operations. Disguised as the servant of her friend, Senator Rio Chuchi, Tano accompanied her aboard the Trade Federation blockade. While aboard, Tano aided Chuchi in infiltrating the office of a Trade Federation ambassador, where they overheard discussions about holding Che Amanwe captive on the ship. Tano skillfully used the Force to prevent their detection when Chuchi nearly gave them away. Subsequently, Tano employed her abilities to grant them access to the detention complex, and together they liberated Che, albeit at the cost of being captured themselves. However, Senator Chuchi skillfully negotiated with the Trade Federation, and with the assistance from her father's pursuit of the bounty hunter Greedo, responsible for the kidnappings, persuaded them to release them and lift the blockade. Yoda's lesson. At a later time, Tano returned to the revered planet of Ilum to obtain her second lightsaber crystal and craft her new blade. This visit proved to be another successful yet unremarkable journey, filled with excitement as she discovered her second Kyber crystal. Back at the Jedi Temple, Skywalker and Tano engaged in sparring sessions, with Skywalker imparting on how to wield her new lightsaber. Despite her eagerness, Tano's inexperience with dual wielding caused her to momentarily forget about her second blade, leading to her swift disarmament by Skywalker. Apologizing for her oversight, Tano received reassurance from Skywalker, who emphasized the learning process involved in mastering a new technique. As Tano retrieved her blade, Master Yoda entered the dojo, expressing interest in observing her progress with her second blade. With lightsaber's approval, Tano agreed, igniting her first blade in anticipation. However, Yoda's disappointment was evident when Tano neglected to bow before engaging in combat, prompting her to rectify her mistake and follow his instructions. Once properly positioned, Tano reignited both blades as Yoda ignited his own. In the ensuing duel, Yoda effortlessly countered Tano's attacks, highlighting the symbiotic relationship between the two lightsabers as akin to master and apprentice. Despite initial setbacks, Tano learned valuable lessons from Yoda about staying true to herself in combat. Realizing the importance of embracing her own style, she confidently engaged Yoda once more, successfully defending against his strikes. Impressed by her progress, Yoda acknowledged Tano's growth and mastery of the dual blade technique. Further training. In the Jedi Temple's training dojo, Tano engaged in a practice session with Padawan Barriss Offee, honing their lightsaber combat skills. During their sparring, Offee utilized the Force to topple Tano. Seeing an opportunity, Tano swiftly retaliated by hurling one of her lightsabers at Offee, catching her off guard and forcing her to yield, thus concluding the match. Offee expressed dissatisfaction with the outcome, remarking that Tano's tactic of throwing her weapon shouldn't be practical in a real battle, and suggesting that Tano had gleaned nothing from their session. Exiting the dojo, Tano and Offee engaged in a discussion about the contrasting teachings of their respective masters. Offee criticized Tano for her perceived impatience and lack of adherence to lightsaber forms, to which Tano defended herself by asserting that the rigid forms weren't always applicable in actual combat situations. Tano handed her lightsabers to Offee, who proceeded to demonstrate the effectiveness of Form 4. Upon reaching Tano's quarters, she thanked Offee for the training session and they parted ways. Alone in her quarters, Tano attempted to practice the lightsaber forms but struggled to execute them successfully. Seeking clarity, she settled into meditation. Reflecting on Offee's criticisms, Tano acknowledged the validity of her points and realized the necessity of adopting a more disciplined Jedi mindset, recognizing her own inadequacies. Tano's meditation was interrupted by a visit from Padme Amidala, surprising her with Amidala's presence at the temple. She explained her upcoming meeting with the Arthurian delegates and requested Tano's assistance in conducting a security check. Initially hesitant, Tano ultimately agreed, swayed by the lessons learned from her lesson with Offee and understanding the importance of fulfilling her duties as a Jedi. Working with Amidala, the following evening, Tano took charge of establishing a secure perimeter around Amidala's apartment, ensuring the senator's safety. Assuring Amidala that the exterior of the building was clear, Tano received the senator's gratitude. Amidala, aware of the opposition she faced in her negotiations with the delegates from Arthuria, invited Tano to stay for the meeting. However, Tano respectfully declined, expressing her reluctance to involve herself in political affairs. As Tano prepared to depart, she noticed a peculiar detail: the banquet table, set with utensils, a practice that went against Arthurian custom. Amidala questioned one of her handmaidens about this breach of etiquette, only for the handmaiden to reveal herself as Cato Parasiti, the shape-shifting assassin Tano had encountered previously during Cad Bane's heist at the Jedi Temple. With swift action, Tano confronted Parasiti, leading to a brief exchange of gunfire. Despite the danger, Tano managed to apprehend Parasiti and neutralize a bomb planted by the assassin within the apartment, averting disaster. Mission to Alderaan. Later, Skywalker arranged for an assignment to accompany Senator Amidala on mission to the planet Alderaan. Unbeknownst to Tano and the Jedi Council, Skywalker and Amidala had secretly wed shortly after the first Battle of Geonosis and intended to utilize this mission as an opportunity to spend time together in privacy. To Skywalker's chagrin, however, Tano was also assigned to the mission at Kenobi's suggestion, hinting at Kenobi's awareness of the couple's close bond. Embarking on a T6 shuttle, the group departed from Coruscant and entered hyperspace. Eager to expedite the mission's conclusion, Skywalker diverted the ship's course to a different route. Tano cautioned her master about traversing a sector suspected of separatist activity, and upon exiting hyperspace, their fears were confirmed as they encountered 5 Munificent-class star frigates. At Amidala's directive, Amidala and Tano manned the ship's weaponry while Skywalker expertly navigated through the Confederate fleet. Despite Skywalker's adept piloting, one of the frigates landed a damaging blow on the Republic shuttle, causing Amidala to fall to the floor. As the smoke cleared, Tano observed Skywalker tenderly assisting Amidala, who clung tightly to her husband. Recognizing their preoccupation, Tano assumed the pilot's seat and skillfully steered the ship to safety on Alderaan. Upon landing, Skywalker expressed his gratitude to his Padawan for her assistance before departing, leaving Tano and the senator alone. In a moment of solidarity, the two women acknowledged their unique relationships with Skywalker. Training the senator, Tano took it upon herself to train Senator Amidala in starfighter combat, bringing the Naboo native to a secluded asteroid field for flight exercises. Despite Tano's belief that the area was devoid of hostile forces, the duo found themselves unexpectedly ambushed by a modified Vulture droid stationed on one of the asteroids. Pursued relentlessly through the field, Tano's N1 starfighter was immobilized by an ion torpedo, rendering her unconscious. Leveraging the lessons imparted by Tano, Amidala skillfully defended her friend and successfully destroyed the droid. Upon regaining consciousness, Tano commended the senator for her quick thinking before they safely returned home. Coruscant skirmish. While patrolling the bustling streets of Coruscant, Tano received an urgent call from Skywalker via her comlink, instructing her to return to the Jedi Temple immediately for a ceremony in which she was to participate. As she neared the temple, she heard desperate cries for help emanating from a nearby crowd. Without hesitation, she diverted from her intended path and followed the sounds of distress. Turning the corner, Tano came upon a harrowing scene. A female Elena and her child were under attack by a rogue droid, its exposed wiring hinting at malfunction. Employing the Force, Tano hurled a crate towards the droid to divert its attention. As it advanced beneath residential water pipes, Tano ignited her dual lightsabers and sprang into action. Swiftly disabling one of the droid's legs with a precise strike, she then leapt upward to sever the water pipes, dousing the malfunctioning machine and causing it to malfunction further until it ceased functioning altogether. Ensuring the safety of the mother and child, Tano swiftly resumed her journey to the Jedi Temple, where she met Skywalker and Yoda by the Great Tree. As the ceremony commenced, Master Yoda praised Tano's humility and bravery, identifying them as signs of maturity and indicators of her progression towards Jedi masterhood. He then bestowed upon her an add-on to her Padawan braid, symbolizing her continued growth and achievements on the path of the Jedi. Political lessons. Tano observed a Senate session where the topic of deregulating banks to finance additional clone troopers was debated, but she struggled to grasp the political intricacies of the war. At her master's behest, she accompanied Amidala to gain insight into politics, allowing Amidala to leverage her Jedi status for a secret meeting with Senator Mina Bonteri, a mentor from Amidala's past, who was now part of the Separatist Senate on Raxus Secundus. Their journey led them to Raxus, where they met with Bonteri and visited her home. There, Tano encountered Bonteri's son, Lux, and engaged in a discussion about their differing perspectives, recounting her encounters with other Separatists like Ventress and Grievous. Witnessing a session of the Separatist Senate, Tano observed as negotiations with the Republic were proposed and approved. Upon returning to Coruscant, Tano and Amidala briefed Councillor Palpatine on their diplomatic efforts. However, their mission coincided with an attack on Coruscant's power generators, leading to the deregulation of banks. Tano also discovered that her master had been aware of their mission and reprimanded her for her recklessness. Despite this, Tano came to realize that the political landscape of the war was far more complex than she had initially believed. The war continues. Journey to Mortis. Tano, alongside Skywalker and Kenobi, received orders to investigate a millennia-old distress signal under the command of Captain Rex. Guided by the signal, they entered a vergence within an ancient monolith, transporting them to the mystical realm of Mortis, existing within the Force itself. Inside, Skywalker was swiftly separated from his companions, leaving Tano and Kenobi to seek refuge as darkness descended. During their respite, Tano encountered a vision of her older self, warning her against her attachment to Skywalker and the potential consequences it could entail. Despite her steadfast loyalty to her master, the vision cautioned that Skywalker's connection to the dark side could endanger her. However, Tano affirmed her trust in Skywalker, emphasizing their mutual bond. Subsequently, Tano and Kenobi were abducted by the powerful beings known as the Son and the Daughter, who served the father, the ruler of Mortis. Presented with a choice by the father to save either Tano or Kenobi, Skywalker tapped into the power of Mortis to rescue both his mentor and his apprentice. Upon returning to their ship, the Jedi encountered further trials, with Tano being kidnapped and imprisoned by the Son. Confronted with her inner doubts and fears, Tano's resolve was tested, culminating in her infection with the dark side of the Force by the Son. As Skywalker attempted to rescue her, the Son threatened Tano's life unless Skywalker joined him. Refusing to yield, Skywalker faced a corrupted Tano who attacked him under the Son's influence. However, with the intervention of Kenobi and the Dagger of Mortis, Tano was momentarily freed from the Son's control. In a tragic turn of events, Tano's attempt to reclaim the dagger resulted in her sacrifice at the hands of the Son. Yet, through the selfless sacrifice of the daughter, Tano was revived and purified of the darkness that had consumed her. With the mission concluded, the Jedi departed Mortis, leaving behind the realm of the Force. Despite their profound experiences, they discovered that only a moment had passed in the outside world as they reunited with the Republic fleet. Rejected. A year and 9 months into the war, Jedi Master Even Piell was captured by Separatist forces while returning from the Outer Rim. Piell possessed crucial information about the secret hyperspace lanes known as the Nexus Route, along with Captain Wilhuff Tarkin. The Separatists aimed to extract this vital intelligence, leading to Piell's incarceration in the Citadel, an ancient prison designed specifically to detain wayward Jedi. In order to rescue Master Piell, Skywalker, Kenobi, and Kun formulated a plan. As they prepared to depart, Tano rushed to join them, having just learned of the mission. Apologizing for her tardiness, she sought clarification on their mission. Recognizing the need for a private discussion, Kenobi and Kun tactfully excused themselves, leaving Skywalker and Tano alone. Skywalker informed Tano that she would not be permitted to participate in the mission. Despite her objections, Skywalker emphasized the perilous nature of the task and deemed it unsuitable for a Padawan. Feeling dismissed, Tano expressed her frustration at being denied the opportunity to learn and grow through such experiences. Seeking guidance, Tano turned to Master Kun, questioning Skywalker's decision. Kun acknowledged that it was ultimately Skywalker's call, but Tano argued that she should have agency in deciding when to risk her life. Reflecting on her impassioned plea, Kun contemplated the validity of her argument, rescuing Even Piell. Eventually, Kun came around to Tano's perspective and, in a way, sanctioned her involvement in the mission. Following this assignment, Tano was encased in carbonite alongside Skywalker, Kenobi, and the clone troopers as they embarked on their stolen Sheathipede-class transport shuttle bound for Lola Sayu, the location of the Citadel. Approaching the planet, Commandant Osi Sobek, the prison warden, grew suspicious of their cargo and ordered a scan for life forms. However, the Republic's deception succeeded and they landed undetected, concealing their presence within the volcanic canyons. Upon being unfrozen, Tano's presence startled Skywalker, who was unaware of her inclusion in the mission. Skywalker assumed he was suffering from carbon sickness upon seeing Tano, but Kenobi confirmed her presence. Tano explained that Kun had authorized her participation, unaware that Skywalker hadn't been informed. Skywalker expressed frustration, reiterating his previous directive for her not to join. However, Kenobi intervened, welcoming Tano to the mission and diffusing the tension. Before they proceeded to the facility, Tano conversed with one of the troopers, Cody, and prepared for their ascent. Opting for a free climb to avoid detection by electromines, the group approached the cliffs surrounding the Citadel. During the ascent, Skywalker checked on Tano's progress and she remarked on the challenging winds. As they reached the platform near their entry point, Kenobi paused the climb when droids emerged, forcing them to wait until the coast was clear. Tano suggested infiltrating via ventilation ducts to disable the ray shield, a plan approved by Skywalker after Kenobi's inquiry. Tano successfully deactivated the ray shield, impressing Skywalker, but their progress was interrupted when a trooper lost his grip and triggered an alert, putting the entire facility on lockdown and initiating a pursuit by Sobek's special units. As they stealthily navigated the facility's corridors, Tano served as a lookout, alerting the group to potential dangers. As they approached PL's cell, Skywalker ordered ARC Trooper 5s to disable the surveillance, triggering laser traps. Despite losing a trooper to an electrified wall, they pressed on. Arriving just in time to rescue PL from torture, Skywalker freed him while Kenobi provided cover. PL revealed he possessed only half of the Nexus route coordinates. His captain held the other half. They resolved to free PL's captain as well, prompting a need for a new escape plan. As they moved to the second cell, Sobek's commando droids surrounded them, initiating an intense battle. Tano engaged one in combat, ultimately disabling it with her lightsaber. Sobek deployed distracting tactics, causing chaos. Amidst the confusion, Skywalker was briefly incapacitated, but the group rallied, using the Force to their advantage. Despite the odds, they overpowered the droids and advanced to the officer's cell. Tano quickly dispatched another commando droid as they regrouped. Tarkin, PL's captain, questioned their escape plan. Kenobi proposed splitting up, with Tano and Tarkin joining Skywalker's group. Though initially hesitant, Tarkin acquiesced, and they formulated their escape strategy. Kenobi's group planned to create a diversion, while Skywalker's team utilized fortress tunnels to reach the pipeline and rendezvous with their shuttle. With their plans set, they proceeded, prepared to face whatever obstacles lay ahead. Journey to the pipeline. As Skywalker left to protect their flank, Tano assumed leadership of the group. Despite Tarkin's skepticism, Rex vouched for her abilities, citing their shared experience. However, their progress was impeded by a dead end in the tunnel, forcing them to confront approaching super battle droids. Tano, unaware of the plan, took action by planting thermal detonators, ultimately destroying the droids and blasting through the wall. Upon reaching the pipeline, Tano led the way, navigating its interior with agility. She scouted ahead and confirmed the route, ensuring it was clear for the group. Climbing out of the hatch, she encountered resistance from battle droids but swiftly dispatched them. As more droids closed in, Tano and Skywalker defended the group, deflecting blaster fire with their lightsabers. However, overwhelmed by the enemy forces, they were forced to flee. Skywalker sealed the hatch with a thermal detonator, causing a massive explosion that eliminated the droids and blocked the pipeline. With Plan B in motion, the group pressed on to rendezvous with Kenobi and their shuttle. Despite the setbacks, Tano's leadership and combat prowess helped guide them through the perilous mission. Plan B. As the situation grew more dire with the shuttle surrounded by turrets, Skywalker's group took cover alongside Kenobi's. Tarkin proposed a risky plan to assault the droids and take control of the turrets, but Kenobi warned against it, feeling it would lead to the destruction of the only means of escape. As they debated their option, STAPs approached, prompting the Jedi to engage in combat. Skywalker attempted to disable the turrets by commandeering each of the STAPs while more droids and commando units arrived, intensifying the firefight. Echo made a daring move to claim the shuttle, but was seemingly killed when the shuttle was destroyed by debris from the explosion. With their escape route now gone, the group had no choice but to retreat. Kenobi and Skywalker contacted the Jedi on Coruscant for rescue as they regrouped and planned their next move. Despite the setback, they remained determined to find a way out and pressed onward toward the rendezvous point, hoping for a chance to escape. Rendezvous. As the group navigated the treacherous terrain of Lola Sayu, Tano inquired about their next move. Skywalker revealed they needed to fight their way off the planet. PL took charge of contacting the Jedi Council, and Windu informed them that Kun was en route with gunships for their extraction. Yoda cautioned that they had a narrow window for rescue. Ambushed by commando droids, the group swiftly dispatched them, thanks to Fives' timely detonator. Pressing on towards the rendezvous, they encountered more droids, boxing them in. Skywalker and Kenobi used ascension guns to descend the cliff face, with Tano providing cover fire. Despite R2's droid reinforcements, the group faced a fierce assault, barely escaping into a cave. Navigating through danger, Tano exchanged words with Tarkin, who questioned the Jedi's reliability. Skywalker defended the Jedi, leading to a debate on principles and loyalty. As they laid a trap for pursuing Anubas and droids, PL and Tano fought off crab droids, but PL was fatally wounded. With PL's dying breath, he entrusted Tano with his half of the Nexus route coordinates, emphasizing the importance of delivering it to the Jedi Council. The group mourned PL's sacrifice, honoring him with a solemn ritual at a lava fall. As they reached the extraction point, they faced one last confrontation with Sobek, who threatened Tarkin's life. In a swift act of heroism, Tano intervened, saving Tarkin and eliminating Sobek. With Kun's arrival and the support of other Jedi, they escaped Lola Sayu, returning safely to their fleet. Inside the Jedi Temple, Tano, accompanied by Kun, confronted by Kenobi and Skywalker, sought answers about her involvement in the mission. Kun admitted that it seemed he had indeed assigned her to the mission, much to Tano's surprise and the dismay of Kenobi and Skywalker. Uncertain of the situation, Tano questioned Kun about his decision. He explained that he had reconsidered after Tano had made a compelling argument for her inclusion. Tano, still processing this revelation, expressed her confusion, feeling torn between her loyalty to her master and her commitment to the mission. Sensing her internal conflict, Kun reassured Tano that she had acted admirably and that her actions had proven her worth. Kenobi and Skywalker, though initially hesitant, recognized Tano's Tano's bravery and resourcefulness during the mission. They acknowledged that she had demonstrated the qualities of a true Jedi and praised her for her courage under pressure. With tensions eased, Tano expressed her gratitude to Kun for his support and guidance. Together, they resolved to await Yoda's decision regarding the Nexus route coordinates and the best course of action moving forward. As they awaited further instructions, Tano reflected on the lessons learned from the mission and the importance of trust and unity within the Jedi Order. Captured at Felucia, Tano's harrowing experience on Wasca tested her resilience and resourcefulness, forcing her to rely on her Jedi training and inner strength to survive. Despite the bleak circumstances, Tano's unwavering belief in hope and her determination to escape inspired her fellow prisoners, gradually restoring their spirits and motivating them to take action. When Tano encountered fellow survivors, including former Jedi younglings, she assumed a leadership role, encouraging them to remain proactive and seek ways to escape their captors. Despite initial resistance from some, Tano's optimism and initiative gradually won over her companions, leading to collaborative efforts to gather information and plan their escape. During their time on Wasca, Tano demonstrated her combat prowess and quick thinking in various encounters with the Trandoshan hunters. Her ability to fend off attackers and protect her allies proved crucial in their struggle for survival. Tragically, Tano also experienced loss as she witnessed the death of Khalifa, one of her newfound allies. Despite the heartache, Tano remained steadfast and continued to support the group, vowing to honor Khalifa's memory and look after the others. Tano's collaboration with Chewbacca, Jinx, and Omer led to innovative strategies and daring attempts to secure their freedom. Their successful efforts to build a transmitter, incapacitate a Trandoshan sniper, and ultimately confront the hunters demonstrated their resilience and courage in the face of adversity. Upon their triumphant return to the Jedi Temple, Tano's reunion with Skywalker was met with relief and gratitude. Despite the challenges she faced, Tano expressed appreciation for her master's guidance and credited him with her survival and the rescue of her companions. As they walked back towards the temple, Tano and Skywalker's bond as master and apprentice remained strong, symbolizing the enduring spirit of hope and resilience that defined their relationship and the Jedi Order as a whole. Campaign at Umbara. In their critical roles as leaders of the fighter squadrons, Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee played instrumental parts in the Republic's efforts to retake Umbara from the Separatists. Leading a squadron consisting of Z-95 headhunters and Y-wing bombers, Tano and Offee spearheaded an attack on a formidable Munificent-class star frigate, successfully destroying it. This decisive action not only inflicted significant damage on the Separatist forces, but also helped pave the way for the Republic's ground assault on Umbara. Throughout the intense space battle and subsequent ground engagements, Tano and Offee displayed exceptional skill, courage, and strategic acumen, rallying their fellow pilots and troops to overcome formidable enemy resistance. Their leadership and combat prowess were instrumental in securing victory for the Republic forces, ultimately reclaiming Umbara from the grip of the Separatists. Combating the Slave Empire. Ahsoka Tano played a pivotal role alongside Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and their clone troopers in aiding the Togruta population of Kuros against the Separatist threat. Despite facing fierce opposition from commando droids and droideka sharpshooters, the team persevered in their mission. Tano discovered a deeply personal aspect of her master's past when she learned that Skywalker was a former slave, a revelation that added complexity to their relationship. When the Zygerian commander Darts Dinar attempted to evade justice, Tano and Skywalker pursued him, ultimately defeating him and learning of the Togruta's enslavement on Zygeria. Together with their comrades, they journeyed to Zygeria, where Tano posed as Skywalker's slave to gain access to the Queen Miraj Skintal's court. However, their plan was thwarted when Kenobi was captured, leading to a series of setbacks that resulted in Tano and Skywalker being imprisoned while their allies were sent to a slave processing facility. With quick thinking and resourcefulness, Tano and Skywalker managed to escape captivity and learned of Kenobi and Rex's whereabouts. They embarked on a daring rescue mission to Kadava, where they faced formidable obstacles but ultimately succeeded in liberating their friends and the enslaved population. With the timely arrival of Republic reinforcements led by Plo Koon, Tano played a crucial role in coordinating the rescue operation, ensuring the safe extraction of the slaves and dealing a significant blow to the Zygerian slavers. Death Watch. Ahsoka Tano found herself embroiled in a dangerous mission alongside Senator Padme Amidala, attending a crucial peace conference between the Republic and the Confederacy. However, the proceedings were disrupted by Lux Bonteri, a junior senator with a personal vendetta against Count Dooku, whom he held responsible for his mother's death. Tano, who had befriended Bonteri previously during a failed peace initiative, felt compelled to protect him from potential retaliation. When Bonteri sought to confront Dooku directly, Tano intervened and accompanied him aboard a separatist ship. However, her trust in Bonteri was betrayed when he incapacitated her and redirected their course to Karlak, seeking assistance from the Death Watch, a Mandalorian splinter group. Tano, deprived of her lightsabers, was forced to maintain maintain her cover as Bonteri's betrothed, to conceal her true identity from the Death Watch. Realizing the dangerous game Bonteri was playing, Tano attempted to caution him against trusting the Death Watch, who had their own hidden agendas. Despite her warnings, Bonteri persisted in his plan to enlist Death Watch's help in assassinating Dooku. Tano found herself compelled to work alongside the natives enslaved by Death Watch, but when the Mandalorians began to terrorize a village, she attempted to resist only to be captured. In a tense confrontation with Pre Vizsla, the leader of the Death Watch, Tano found herself facing imminent death until the timely intervention of R2-D2, who provided her with her lightsabers. With her weapons in hand, Tano fought her way free, engaging in a fierce duel with Vizsla. Together with R2's assistance, they managed to escape the clutches of Death Watch. However, their ordeal was far from over, as Bonteri, unwilling to face the consequences of his actions, abandoned Tano and fled in an escape pod. Despite the betrayal, Tano remained resolute, defending herself and ultimately escaping from Karlak. This harrowing experience served as another testament to Tano's resourcefulness and resilience in the face of adversity. Onderon's rebels. Ahsoka Tano found herself deeply involved in the conflict on Onderon, where she, alongside Masters Skywalker, Kenobi, and Captain Rex, was tasked by the Jedi Council to train and support the local rebels in their fight against the oppressive rule of King Sanjay Rash and his Confederate occupation forces. Working closely with rebel leaders such as Stila Guerrera, her brother Saw, and Lux Bonteri, Tano played a crucial role in teaching the rebels how to combat the battle droids deployed by the Separatists. As the rebels gained momentum and success, Tano remained behind in Aziz to maintain communication lines between the rebels and the Jedi, while Skywalker, Kenobi, and Rex returned to the Republic lines. Despite their efforts, public opinion remained divided regarding the rebels' cause. In a bid to sway public sentiment, Tano, along with the rebels and Bonteri, orchestrated the destruction of the power generator in Aziz, disrupting the battle droid patrols and bolstering the rebels' position. Stila was subsequently appointed as leader of the rebels. However, the Separatist response was swift and ruthless. General Kalani was dispatched to reinforce the occupation forces, and orders were issued for the execution of the former king, Ramses Dendup. Saw attempted to rescue King Dendup but was captured in the process. Tano joined forces with Stila to plan a daring escape during the public execution, successfully rescuing both the king and Saw. However, Tano's use of the Force during the operation inadvertently exposed the presence of the Jedi. Retreating to their base in the highlands outside Aziz, Tano and the rebels braced themselves for the inevitable retaliation from the Separatists. When Kalani's forces launched a fierce assault, including the deployment of new HMP droid gunships, the rebels found themselves outmatched and suffered heavy casualties. Recognizing the dire situation, Tano called upon Skywalker for assistance, striking a deal with Hondo Ohnaka to acquire rocket launchers to counter the gunships. With the timely delivery of the rocket launchers, the rebels managed to turn the tide of the battle. However, tragedy struck when a gunship shot Tano, causing her to lose her grip on Stila as she attempted to save her from falling off a cliff. Despite their victory, Tano was left shaken by Stila's death and grappled with feelings of guilt and remorse. Saw, in particular, harbored bitterness towards Tano, rejecting her attempts to apologize for her perceived failure at his sister's funeral. The Gathering. Ahsoka Tano embarked on her third journey to the sacred planet of Ilum, accompanied by a group of younglings on a quest known as the Gathering. The younglings, including Petro, Katuni, Zat, Ganodi, Gungi, and Biff, were tasked with finding their own lightsaber crystals within the caves of Ilum. Under the guidance of Master Yoda, the younglings received wisdom before venturing into the caves to begin their individual trials. Upon completing the Gathering, Tano led the younglings back to the Crucible, a vessel that would transport them back to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. However, their journey was interrupted by an attack from Hondo Ohnaka's pirate gang, who sought to steal the Kyber crystals for profit. Tano devised a plan to defend the Crucible, directing the younglings and the ship's droid R2-D2 to secure the cockpit while she confronted the pirates. Despite their efforts, Tano was captured by Ohnaka's pirates and taken prisoner. Held captive at Hondo's complex, Tano endured taunts from the pirates until the younglings devised a daring rescue plan. With the help of Katuni, who retrieved Tano's lightsabers, the younglings freed Tano and attempted to free to the Crucible. However, their escape was thwarted when Ohnaka destroyed the ship with a speeder tank. Subsequently, Tano and the younglings found themselves caught between the Separatist army led by General Grievous and Ohnaka's pirates. In a surprising turn of events, they formed an unlikely alliance with the pirates to repel the Separatist forces. Tano engaged Grievous in a duel while the younglings and pirates made their escape aboard the rebuilt Slave One. Following these events, Tano considered her third trip to Ilum to be more of an adventure than her previous ones. Additionally, she filed a report to the Jedi Order regarding her mission to Karlak with Lux Bonteri, informing them of the end of the alliance between Mandalorian Death Watch and the Separatists. This revelation influenced the Jedi's decision not to intervene in Mandalore's internal affairs, ultimately leading to Kenobi's solo mission to confront the rogue Sith Lord Maul and witness the tragic death of Duchess Satine Kryze. Bombing of the Jedi Temple. As the Clone Wars drew to a close, Ahsoka Tano became increasingly aware of the profound sorrow weighing on Jedi Master Yoda, who seemed burdened by the impending end of the war and the dawn of a new era. Meanwhile, at the age of 16, Tano's close friend Barriss Offee, disillusioned with the Jedi Order's actions during the war, orchestrated a bombing at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Following the bombing, which claimed the lives of 6 Jedi, clones, and temple workers, Tano and Skywalker were recalled from their mission to investigate. Mace Windu informed them of the possibility that a Jedi may be responsible for the attack, troubling both Tano and Skywalker deeply. Despite their concerns, they proceeded with the investigation, ultimately uncovering evidence implicating a temple worker named Jakar Bomani. However, further investigation revealed that Bomani's spouse, Letta Termond, was the true culprit, having fed him nanodroids to turn him into a living bomb. During Termond's incarceration, Offee, seeking to frame Tano, used a force choke to kill Termond in front of Tano, leading to Tano's arrest. Despite being innocent, Tano found herself imprisoned and later escaped, only to be further incriminated when Offee planted evidence to implicate her in the deaths of clone troopers. As she fled from Republic authorities, Tano encountered Ventress, her former adversary, who agreed to help her in exchange for a pardon from the Galactic Senate. Together, they attempted to uncover evidence to clear Tano's name. However, Tano was ultimately apprehended and brought to trial, where Tarkin, now an admiral, sought her conviction and death sentence. During the trial, Offee was brought forward as a captive and confessed to her crimes, revealing the truth behind the bombing and exonerating Tano. Despite her innocence being proven, Tano's faith in the Jedi Order was deeply shaken by the betrayal of someone she considered a friend and the realization that the Order was not infallible. A new path. After her trial and subsequent pardon by the Jedi Council, Tano chose to leave the Jedi Order, despite being invited to rejoin by both the Council and her former master, Anakin Skywalker. Feeling disillusioned by the Council's lack of faith in her and shaken by the events surrounding her trial, Tano believed she needed to find her own path and purpose outside of the Order. Skywalker, deeply affected by Tano's departure, pursued her and pleaded with her to stay. He reminded her of his belief in her innocence and his unwavering support, but Tano remained resolute in her decision to leave. She felt that the Council's lack of trust had eroded her confidence and made her question her place within the Order. Tano's departure had a profound impact on those she knew, including Yoda, who was haunted by visions of her during his quest for immortality. Skywalker, feeling even more alone and fulfilling his destiny as the Chosen One, lamented her decision and grappled with feelings of betrayal toward the Council for their treatment of her. Even during subsequent missions, Tano's absence weighed heavily on Skywalker and Kenobi, with Skywalker expressing his longing for her presence and questioning the Council's decision to abandon her. Kenobi, while acknowledging mistakes were made, maintained that Tano's departure was her own choice, and reminded Skywalker of the importance of accepting responsibility for one's decisions. The Martez sisters. After leaving the Jedi Order, Tano found herself stranded on Coruscant's lower levels, where she encountered Trace Martez, a mechanic living and working in the industrial district of level 1313. Despite initially being unable to afford repairs for her malfunctioning speeder bike, Tano struck up a friendship with Trace, who eventually agreed to let her fix the bike for free. As Tano worked on her speeder, she learned about Trace's dreams of leaving Coruscant and sympathized with her desire to escape the war. Their budding friendship was interrupted when a local gangster, Pintu Son El, and his enforcers confronted Trace, demanding money she owed him. Tano intervened and swiftly defeated the enforcers, prompting Trace to inquire about Tano's combat skills. Tano, choosing to keep her Jedi past a secret, claimed she had learned to fight from her older brother. As they continued to interact, Tano and Trace found themselves embroiled in a scheme involving fraudulent droids and local criminals. Despite their efforts to rectify the situation, they faced challenges and moral dilemmas along the way. Tano's actions during a dangerous confrontation with a rampaging droid revealed her true identity as a Force user to a young Twi'lek child, highlighting her struggle to conceal her Jedi abilities. Throughout their adventures, Tano and Trace developed a bond, with Tano offering guidance to support Trace as they navigated the dangers of life on Coruscant's lower levels. Despite their differences, they learned from each other and found common ground in their shared experiences. Ultimately, their encounters with crime and corruption tested their convictions and forced them to confront difficult truths about themselves and the world around them. As they parted ways, Tano and Trace carried with them valuable lessons learned and a newfound understanding of the challenges they faced. Escape from Obadiah. As tensions escalated and their escape plan unraveled, Ahsoka Tano found herself in a precarious situation alongside the Martez sisters, Rafa and Trace, on the planet Obadiah. Despite her attempts to use her Jedi skills to manipulate the Pike crime lord Marg Krim into letting them go, their deception was soon discovered by Krim's sharp-witted majordomo Fife. With their plan foiled and the Pikes closing in, Rafa suggested shifting the blame onto Tano to save themselves. However, Trace pointed out that all three of them were complicit in their predicament. As they faced capture by the Pikes, the three women were trapped aboard the Silver Angel, caught in a tractor beam and surrounded by Pike forces. Hughes. Despite the dire circumstances, Tano remained resolute, recognizing that they needed to find a way out of their predicament. As they struggled to devise a plan, tensions ran high among the group, with Rafa's desperation to save herself conflicting with Trace's loyalty to her sister and Tano's resolve to do what was right. In the midst of the chaos, Tano's Jedi training and quick thinking came into play as she attempted to outmaneuver the Pikes and secure their escape. However, their situation grew increasingly perilous as the Pikes closed in, leaving the trio with limited options. Imprisoned deep within the Pike Palace for their failed smuggling attempt, Ahsoka Tano and the Martez sisters found themselves in a dire situation. As they grappled with their predicament, Rafa recounted a tragic event from their past that had led them to distrust Jedi and other topsiders. She revealed that their parents had been killed in a crash caused by Jedi pursuing criminals, leaving them orphaned and embittered. Despite their differences, Tano empathized with their plight and expressed remorse for their suffering. However, their conversation was cut short when the Pike guards arrived to take Rafa for interrogation. In a desperate attempt to protect her sister, Tano intervened, but they were powerless to prevent Rafa's capture. Left behind in their cell, Tano and Trace faced an uncertain fate. Trace confided in Tano, revealing her conflicted feelings about their newfound partnership and her reasons for helping them. Meanwhile, Rafa endured torture at the hands of the Pikes, refusing to betray her companions. As the situation escalated, Trace made a bold escape attempt, using her wits and resourcefulness to outmaneuver the guards. Tano, utilizing her Jedi abilities, discreetly aided in their flight, unlocking doors and creating diversions to cover their tracks. Reunited and determined to flee the palace, the trio faced numerous obstacles and dangers. Tano's guidance and intervention proved crucial as they navigated through the treacherous corridors, evading Pike patrols and overcoming obstacles. In a final showdown, Tano took charge, disabling the city gate controls to facilitate their escape. Working together, they fought off Pike guards and successfully breached the palace defenses, fleeing into the city under the cover of chaos. As they raced through the streets, Tano, Rafa, and Trace found themselves bound together by circumstance and forged a newfound bond of camaraderie and mutual trust. With the Pikes in pursuit, they embarked on a daring journey to freedom, their resilience and determination serving as their greatest assets in the face of adversity. As they found themselves cornered by the Pikes after a chaotic chase through the streets of the city, tensions ran high. The sisters' argument over using the Silver Angel to escape only added to their predicament, ultimately leading to their capture by the Syndicate's guards. Separated from Rafa and Trace, Tano continued in desperate flight, evading the Pikes while unknowingly attracting the attention of a Mandalorian night owl, Bo-Katan Kryze, who recognized her as a potential ally against the common threat of Maul. Meanwhile, Rafa and Trace were taken into custody by the Pikes, facing imminent danger as their captors planned to execute them for their failed smuggling attempt. Tano, observing from a distance, recognized the severity of their situation and resolved to intervene to save her newfound allies. Using her ingenuity and Jedi skills, Tano staged a daring rescue, commandeering a construction vehicle to disrupt the Pikes' plan and fend off their attackers. Despite her efforts, they were ultimately overpowered and returned to their cell, where they faced the grim reality of their fate at the hands of their captors. As they awaited their uncertain destiny, Tano, Rafa, and Trace found solace in each other's company, grappling with the consequences of their actions and the daunting challenges that lay ahead. With their lives hanging in the balance, they clung to hope and resilience, determined to persevere against overwhelming odds. After their harrowing escape from Obadiah, Ahsoka Tano and the Martez sisters found themselves unexpectedly approached by Lady Bo-Katan Kryze and members of her Mandalore resistance. Though Tano recognized Kryze from their previous encounter during the battle on Karlak, the Mandalorian leader clarified that Death Watch had been disbanded, signaling a shift in allegiance. Recognizing a common enemy in the rogue Sith Lord Maul, Tano and Kryze agreed to forge an alliance to confront and defeat this formidable threat. Despite their differing backgrounds and histories, they understood the importance of uniting against the greater danger Maul posed to the galaxy. Before parting ways, Tano entrusted her speeder bike to the Martez sisters, leaving it with them as a symbol of their shared bond and as a means of potential reunion in the future. With this gesture, Tano left the sisters behind, setting out on her new path alongside her newfound allies in the fight against Maul. Shattered. After forging an alliance with the Mandalorians and receiving a new outfit made from Beskar, Ahsoka Tano dedicated herself to the task of locating Maul. Over time, she developed a close friendship with Lady Bo-Katan Kryze, who also became her combat mentor. Together, they managed to pinpoint Maul's location on Mandalore, leveraging information Tano had acquired from the Pikes on Obadiah. Recognizing they lacked the necessary forces for a siege on Mandalore, Tano and Kryze sought assistance from Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who were contacted via the subspace frequency Fulcrum. Upon their arrival, Tano briefed the Jedi on their plan to capture Maul swiftly. Despite initial reservations due to the political ramifications, Skywalker and Kenobi agreed to aid the Mandalorians. Tano was met with a warm reception from the clones aboard the Star Destroyer, who honored her service in the Clone Wars. Skywalker surprised her with a gift, her former lightsabers, and proposed a compromise that allowed her to serve as an advisor while Rex led a new division of the 501st. As preparations for the Siege of Mandalore commenced, tensions arose when Kenobi prioritized defending Coruscant against a surprise attack by Grievous. Tano challenged the Jedi's decision, accusing them of playing politics instead of focusing on the galaxy's needs. Despite the disagreement, Tano accepted her new role and prepared to confront Maul, heeding Kenobi's advice to capture rather than kill him. Before parting ways, Skywalker expressed hope for a future reunion, and Tano thanked him for his support. With her lightsabers in hand and a determined spirit, Tano reunited with Rex, ready to embark on their mission to bring Maul to justice and bring an end to the Clone Wars. Siege of Mandalore. Arriving on Mandalore, Ahsoka Tano joined the assault team alongside Lady Bo-Katan Kryze, Rex, and ARC Trooper CT-5597 Jesse aboard a gunship as they approached Sundari. Prime Minister Almec contacted them, questioning their motives, but Kryze exposed him as a puppet of Maul, dismissing his warnings. As their gunship shook from the incoming attack, Tano shielded herself from debris, and they prepared to engage Maul's forces in the air. When Rex apologized for not bringing her a jetpack, Tano reassured him that she didn't need one, initiating a friendly race to the surface. Jumping out of the gunship, she landed on another, swiftly dispatching attacking super commandos with her lightsabers. Boarding another gunship, she incapacitated more enemies before hitching a ride on one of their jetpacks. As she moved across the battlefield, Tano noticed a crashing gunship with a pilot in need of assistance. Using her lightsabers, she helped the pilot escape before continuing her descent to the surface. Dodging enemy fire, she deflected blaster bolts and engaged in combat alongside Mandalorian reinforcements, including Ursa Wren and Rex. With their combined efforts, they pressed forward into Sundari, ready to confront Maul and his forces. Tano's agility and combat skills proved invaluable as they fought to liberate Mandalore from Maul's control. After Gar Saxon and several super commandos escaped into Sundari's undercity, Ahsoka Tano, alongside Clone Captain Rex and his troops, ventured into the labyrinthine tunnels to track them down. As they explored, they fell into a trap set by Rook Kast and her forces. Despite Tano's attempts to divert an explosive, it still detonated, disorienting them. Amidst the chaos, Tano followed the trail of bodies left by the skirmish, only to find herself surrounded by super commandos and facing Maul himself. Maul expressed his surprise at seeing her instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi, to which Tano retorted that Kenobi was occupied with the Battle of Coruscant. Maul, sensing a larger scheme at play, hinted at Darth Sidious's plans without elaborating fully. Their conversation was cut short as Tano called for Rex's assistance, prompting him and his men to arrive and engage the enemy. In the ensuing skirmish, Maul briefly dueled Tano before evading capture and fleeing with Kast. Despite their efforts, Tano and Rex lost track of Maul in the confusion, realizing they had failed to apprehend him. Reflecting on their defeat, Tano acknowledged the challenge ahead in confronting Maul and preventing his dark machinations from coming to fruition. After Maul's escape, Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex conferred with Obi-Wan Kenobi via hologram in the Grand Salon of the Sundari Royal Palace. During their discussion, Bo-Katan Kryze joined them, providing updates on the ongoing firefight in Sector 11. Tano brought up Maul's mention of Darth Sidious, prompting Kryze to inquire about Sidious's identity. Kenobi revealed the Jedi Council's suspicions about Sidious being a Sith Lord who orchestrated the Clone Wars, obtaining information from Count Dooku before his demise. Learning about Skywalker's assignment to spy on Chancellor Palpatine, Tano expressed her discomfort with the situation, questioning Palpatine's friendship with Skywalker. Kenobi acknowledged her concerns and urged her to discuss them with Skywalker directly. Though initially hesitant, Tano agreed, acknowledging the complexity of the situation and Kenobi's trust in her judgment. Their conversation was interrupted by Rex, who reported an attack in the Undercity. Kenobi permitted Tano to investigate, and as she hurried off, she asked Kenobi to convey a message to Skywalker, but he assured her that he would handle it. With a sense of determination, Tano rushed to confront the unfolding situation in the Undercity while Kenobi watched on. Returning to the Undercity, Tano was informed of an ambush on the clones en route to reinforce a specific location, prompting her to instruct Captain Rex to reinforce the area while she tended to other matters. She approached an injured clone named Sterling, who revealed that Maul had targeted them, specifically inquiring about Tano and identifying the eldest clone, Jesse, as a potential source of valuable information. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Tano delved deeper into the Undercity in pursuit of Maul and Jesse. After venturing through the Undercity, Tano, along with Rex and Bo-Katan Kryze, proceeded to the royal prison to interrogate Prime Minister Almec, hoping to glean insights into Maul's plans. Almec initially feigned ignorance, but eventually revealed that Maul harbored a sense of foreboding and had mentioned the name Skywalker in a vision. Before Almec could provide further details, he was assassinated by Gar Saxon under Maul's orders. Despite the shock and sorrow of losing Almec, Tano remained determined to uncover Maul's intentions. With the revelation of Skywalker's involvement, Tano's focus sharpened as she, Rex, and Kryze regrouped and returned to the royal palace to strategize their next move. The stakes had never been higher as they raced against time to thwart Maul's sinister plot and protect the galaxy from the looming threat of Darth Sidious. Exhausted but victorious, Tano stood on the precipice of the cracked dome, watching as Mandalorian forces and clones apprehended Maul, who was now bound and incapacitated. Despite the chaos and destruction surrounding them, a sense of relief washed over Tano Tano as she realized that Mandalore was finally safe from Maul's grasp. As the gunships departed with Maul in custody, Tano took a moment to gather herself, reflecting on the intense duel she had just endured. She knew that the capture of Maul was a significant victory, one that could potentially unravel the sinister plans of Darth Sidious and bring about a semblance of peace to the war-torn galaxy. Turning away from the scene, Tano rejoined Captain Rex and the Mandalorian warriors, acknowledging their bravery and dedication in the face of overwhelming odds. Together, they had thwarted Maul's schemes and prevented further bloodshed in Sundari. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Tano couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in what they had accomplished. Despite the challenges and sacrifices along the way, they had emerged triumphant, ready to face whatever the future held for them. With Mandalore liberated from Maul's tyranny, Tano knew that their work was far from over. Aftermath. As Tano stood aboard the Venator-class Star Destroyer, reflecting on her mission's success and the events that had transpired on Mandalore, she couldn't help but feel a sense of introspection. The journey back to Coruscant was a moment of respite amidst the chaos of war, allowing her to contemplate her place in the galaxy and the role she played in the ongoing conflict. As she conversed with Captain Rex, Tano expressed her complex feelings about her identity as both a soldier and a former Jedi. She recognized that her life had been defined by her experiences on the battlefield, yet she grappled with the ideals of peace and justice instilled in her during her Jedi training. Despite the challenges and sacrifices she had faced, Tano found solace in the camaraderie that she shared with Rex and his fellow clones, acknowledging the bond forged through their shared struggles. As the Star Destroyer hurtled through hyperspace, Tano and Rex shared a moment of mutual understanding and respect, recognizing the significance of their roles in the grand scheme of the war. Despite the uncertainty of the future, they found strength in their shared purpose and the friendships they had formed along the way. As they prepared to face whatever new challenges awaited them, Tano and Rex stood side by side. Order 66. As the clones relentlessly attempted to breach the medical bay's door, Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex found themselves facing a dire situation. With the revelation that the inhibitor chips had compelled the entire Grand Army of the Republic to turn against their Jedi allies, they knew that they were in for a fight for their lives. With lightsabers ignited and blasters drawn, Tano and Rex stood side by side, ready to defend themselves against the overwhelming odds. As the clones broke through the door once more, Tano and Rex fought with unwavering resolve, deflecting blaster bolts and utilizing the Force to fend off attackers. Amidst the chaos, they found strength in each other's presence. Soon, they found themselves confronted by an overwhelming force of clone troopers led by Jesse, blocking their path to escape. As they stood their ground in the hangar, they knew that they would need to act quickly to evade capture and make their escape. With the shuttle prepared and awaiting their command, they faced the daunting challenge of breaking through the clone blockade and reaching safety. As the chaos unfolded, Tano and Rex executed their plan with precision, using deception and strategic maneuvering to gain the upper hand against the clone troopers. With Tano's leadership and Rex's tactical expertise, they managed to turn the tide of the battle in their favor. However, their victory was short-lived as Maul intervened, seeking to capitalize on the chaos to further his own agenda. Tano and Rex were forced to confront Maul, adding another layer of danger to their already perilous situation. They fought valiantly against Maul and the clone troopers, refusing to back down. In the end, they managed to escape the crashing Star Destroyer aboard a Y-Wing starfighter. With this, they found themselves in a grim new reality. With their fellow clones turned against them and the Jedi Order destroyed, they were forced to adapt to a life on the run, marked as enemies of the Republic they once served. In a solemn act of remembrance, Tano and Rex honored their fallen comrades by erecting graves for them, each marked with a helmet symbolizing the sacrifice of those who had fought beside them. Despite the weight of their loss, they found solace in preserving the memory of their fallen brothers. In their quest for survival, Tano and Rex salvaged what they could from the wreckage, including the remains of Tano's loyal astromech droid R7A7. As they bid farewell to their fallen comrades, Tano made a symbolic gesture by casting aside her lightsabers, a poignant reminder of the life she had left behind as a Jedi. With their identities now concealed and their past lives erased, they embarked on a journey into exile aboard their Y-Wing, leaving behind the remnants of their former existence. In the shadows of the emerging galactic empire, Tano and Rex faced the daunting task of evading capture and navigating a galaxy plunged into darkness. As they grappled with the harsh realities of their new existence, they remained vigilant against the looming threat of the Empire and its relentless pursuit of those who dared to oppose it. Unbeknownst to them, their former master, Anakin Skywalker, now Darth Vader, lurked in the shadows, his presence a constant reminder of the tragic path he had chosen. Age of the Empire. As Tano sought refuge on the planet Thebeska, she hoped to disappear amidst the quiet life of the rural world. Unbeknownst to her, Thebeska was under the influence of the powerful Fardi clan, complicating her efforts to remain hidden from the Empire's watchful gaze. Taking on the alias Ashla, Tano attempted to blend in with the local population, finding herself welcomed by the Fardi family and their young daughters and nieces. Despite her attempts to keep a low profile, Tano's skills as a mechanic soon caught the attention of the Fardies, leading to her employment within the clan and integration into their daily lives. However, Tano's efforts to maintain her anonymity were jeopardized when she inadvertently revealed her Force abilities while saving the Fardi children from danger. Concerned that she had exposed her true identity, Tano grappled with the consequences of her actions, particularly upon discovering that one of the Fardi children, Hidala, was also Force sensitive. As Empire Day approached, Tano realized that she needed to seize the opportunity to escape Thebesca before she was discovered by the Empire. Using the distraction of the festivities, she made her way to the landing field, evading Imperial stormtroopers along the way. In a desperate bid for freedom, Tano stole one of the Fardi ships and fled the planet, leaving behind the life she had briefly forged on Thebesca. Despite her departure, Tano could not shake the guilt of leaving Hidala behind, knowing the danger that awaited the young Force-sensitive girl in the clutches of the Empire. Yet, with no time to spare, she set her course for the unknown, Rada. As Tano settled into her new life on the agrarian moon of Rada, she took on the identity of Ashla and forged a friendship with a local girl named Kaden. Living in an abandoned home and working as a mechanic in exchange for ration packs, Tano began to find a sense of belonging with the farming community. While repairing machinery and getting to know her new friends, Tano also explored the surrounding hills and caves, identifying potential hiding spots should the need arise. As she integrated into the community, Tano learned more about the lives of her neighbors, including Kaden and her sister Miara, who had lost their parents in an accident. Despite enjoying the simplicity of her new life, Tano couldn't shake the feeling of restlessness. When an Imperial Star Destroyer arrived above Rada, she initially feared the worst, but soon realized that the Empire's presence was focused on exploiting the planet's resources rather than hunting Jedi. As the Empire imposed new restrictions on the settlement, Tano advised her friends to prepare for the changes ahead. While they navigated the challenges of living under Imperial rule, Tano kept her true identity hidden, choosing not to reveal her past as a Jedi. Despite her efforts to lay low and blend in, Tano's experiences on Rada would soon be disrupted by the encroaching reach of the Empire. As she navigated the increasingly tense atmosphere under Imperial rule on Rada, she found herself confronted by stormtroopers questioning her work. With quick thinking and subtle use of the Force, Tano managed to convince them of the importance of her role in food production, ensuring that she continue her work without interference. Aware of the Empire's tightening grip on the settlement and the potential risk to her ship at the spaceport, Tano devised a plan to relocate her freighter to a hidden location. After scouting out a suitable spot in a gully, she made her way to the spaceport to retrieve the ship. Encountering an Imperial officer who questioned her intentions, she employed a combination of wit and deception to evade further scrutiny. With her ship safely hidden in the gully, she contemplated her next move, weighing the option of fleeing Rada for good against staying to confront the Empire. Ultimately, she chose to stay and face the challenges ahead, determined to protect her newfound home and community from the encroaching threat of Imperial control. With her ship safely hidden and her resolve strengthened, Tano prepared herself for the uncertain future. As tensions escalated under Imperial rule on Rada, Ahsoka Tano found herself amidst a gathering of farmers at Selda's cantina. Nira informed Tano of Malat and her husband's departure to Solust, leaving Tano to falsely claim that her freighter had been stolen to explain her decision to remain on Rada. As discussions turned to resistance against the Empire, Tano cautioned against resorting to violent tactics, emphasizing the risks of retaliation and the importance of strategic patience. However, tensions reached a breaking point when Tibola engaged in a confrontation with an Imperial officer, resulting in his tragic death at the hands of a stormtrooper. Following the altercation, Tano urged Kaden and Miara to consider a more subtle approach to resistance, suggesting that slowing down crop production could undermine the Empire's plans without drawing immediate reprisal. She entrusted them with conveying this strategy to Vartan, hoping that the farmers could resist the Empire's oppressive measures without resorting to open conflict. As she left the cantina, she was reminded by Selda to exercise caution in the face of escalating violence. Armed with a plan to resist the Empire's control through non-violent means, Tano returned home, determined to support her community in the struggle against Imperial oppression on Rada. She collaborated closely with local allies to orchestrate the smuggling of essential supplies, food, medical resources, and water recyclers out into caves, where they could serve as vital resources for the burgeoning resistance movement. Meanwhile, the farmers' deliberate slowdown of crop growth drew the ire of the new Imperial overseers, who responded by extending the farmers' shifts without providing additional provisions or respite. Vartan's discovery of the Empire's exploitation of Rada's soil for their cultivation of artificial crops further stoked resentment among the locals, exacerbating their grievances against the Imperial rule. Recognizing the need for more decisive action, Tano enlisted the aid of Kaden and Miara in assembling bombs intended for use against the Imperial forces. She shared her knowledge of hidden caves with the sisters and began stockpiling resources in preparation for the Resistance's next steps. As Vartan mobilized 40 farmers, including Hoban, into the burgeoning Resistance mover, Tano assumed a leadership role, coordinating efforts and strategizing for the group's objectives. With plans to brief the assembled farmers on the Resistance's mission, Tano departed from Selda's cantina, poised to lead Rada's oppressed inhabitants in their struggle against the Empire. As she led her team on a daring mission to sabotage the Imperial walkers stored at the Radian shipyard, she selected Miara, Nira, and the Rodian Colvin to accompany her. Miara's expertise was crucial for setting the charges, Nira's quick thinking provided valuable insight, and Colvin's agility proved essential for navigating the spaceport's defenses. Exploiting the weak security of the stormtrooper patrols, Tano's team infiltrated the spaceport with relative ease. While planting the corrosive charges, Tano meticulously observed the patrol patterns, anticipating that future infiltration attempts would face greater obstacles. Nira's assessment prompted Tano to conclude their operation and begin their retreat. Branching off with Miara to continue setting charges, Tano's thoughts drifted to memories of her time on Onderon during the Clone Wars. However, her focus shifted when she discovered Miara had smuggled a real bomb without her knowledge. Confronting Miara about the dangerous contraband, Tano pressed her for answers, wary of any hidden agendas. Despite the interruption of a passing patrol, Tano and Miara pressed on with their mission before reuniting with Nira and Colvin. Upon returning to the cantina, Tano was alarmed to learn that Vartan had initiated an unauthorized attack on the Imperial admin building, risking the premature exposure of their uprising. Urging the farmers to disperse and deny involvement, Tano planned to rescue Caden and the others, but insisted on bringing the explosives for safety. Despite Miara's insistence on standing by her sister, Tano emphasized the importance of following orders to minimize risks and evade Imperial repercussions. As alarms blared from the Imperial compound, signaling the discovery of the damage to the walkers, Tano, accompanied by Miara and Nira, raced through the streets towards the source of the commotion. An explosion echoed through the air, prompting Miara to deny responsibility for the blast. Pressed by Tano to reveal the true plan, Nira disclosed that Hoban had divided the Resistance fighters into 3 groups, armed with explosives and blasters. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Tano swiftly made decisions. She ordered Miara to seek refuge in the caves and instructed Nira to lead the remaining fighters there as well. Determined to neutralize the Imperial tanks, Tano resolved to confront the thickest part of the conflict and evacuate as many people as possible. When Miara pressed for answers about Tano's origins, the Togruta veteran of the Clone Wars revealed her past involvement in conflict. As Tano and Nira approached the Imperial compound, they found Hoban's fighters struggling against the garrison's heavy artillery, only with 5 survivors, including Caden, pinned down by enemy fire. Taking action, Tano planted explosives behind the Imperial tanks, rendering them immobile and disrupting the Imperial advance. Seizing the opportunity, she led the survivors to safety, disarming a stormtrooper along the way to aid their escape. Their retreat was momentarily halted by a line of stormtroopers blocking their path. In a decisive move, Tano used the Force to disarm the troopers, allowing her and the Radian farmers to flee to the safety of the caves. Along the way, she deflected incoming artillery with her mastery of the Force, ensuring the survival of her comrades in the face of overwhelming odds. Upon their arrival in the safety of the caves, tension hung thick in the air as the Resistance fighters turned their attention to Ahsoka Tano. Caden, visibly angered by the revelation of Tano's Jedi identity, demanded an explanation for her secrecy, believing that it could have saved Hoban's life. Before Tano could fully talk about her reasons, Caden stormed off, leading the Togruta to contemplate her next steps. Feeling responsible for the increased danger they faced due to her presence, Tano considered leaving to avoid further endangering the farmers and drawing attention from the Empire. While meditating on her decision, Tano was interrupted by Miara, who informed her that Caden had left the safety of the caves and returned to town. Recognizing the peril Caden faced, Tano instructed Miara to remain in the caves with Nira while she set out to find Caden, knowing the risk of Imperial capture that awaited her. Meanwhile, Caden returned to her home only to be apprehended by a passing stormtrooper patrol. Despite enduring torture, Caden steadfastly refused to divulge Tano's identity or the rebels' whereabouts. Risking her own safety, Tano infiltrated the Imperial admin building to rescue Caden from captivity. Using one of Miara's corrosive explosives, Tano breached Caden's cell and carried the sedated farmer to safety using the Force, evading detection by Imperial forces. Once they reached the outskirts of town, Caden, in a moment of lucidity, revealed that the Imperials were keen on capturing Tano. Advising the Jedi to leave Rada and seek safety off-world, Caden expressed gratitude for Tano's aid. Promising to return one day, Tano bid farewell to Caden, their paths diverging once more as she ventured into the unknown, leaving behind the farmer who had risked everything to protect her secret. Return to the Farties. As Tano settled back into life on Thebesca, her presence drew the attention of both the oppressive Galactic Empire and Senator Bail Organa, who remained dedicated to resisting Palpatine's regime. While the Empire dispatched the formidable Inquisitor's sixth brother to Rada in an attempt to flush out the Jedi, Organa saw Tano as a potential ally in his burgeoning rebel movement. Organa, recognizing the value of Tano's experience and strength in the fight against tyranny, orchestrated a covert mission to locate and recruit her. Retrieving the astromech droid R2-D2 for assistance, Organa enlisted the help of skilled pilots Chargery Tage and Tamsin to track down Tano and facilitate their rendezvous. Meanwhile, Tano, having traveled through multiple Outer Rim systems and witnessing firsthand the Empire's oppression, decided to return to Thebesca to check on the Force-sensitive Hidala Fardi. Landing at the Fardi shipyard, Tano was warmly greeted by the patriarch of the Fardi family, who welcomed her back and offered her employment as a mechanic once more. The patriarch also expressed his daughter's longing for Tano's company and invited her to join them for dinner. During dinner, Tano engaged in light conversation with the older Fardi sisters, being careful not to reveal the details of her adventures on Rada. Maintaining her guise as Ashla, she spoke vaguely of the suffering she had witnessed in the galaxy, lamenting her inability to intervene directly. When asked about her difficulty in hiding, Tano alluded to the challenge of concealing her distinctive Togruta appearance. Amidst the familial warmth and chatter, Tano shared a private moment with Hidala, who confided in her about sensing a foreboding shadow during Tano's absence. Sensing the gravity of Hidala's words, Tano encouraged the young girl to confide in her further, emphasizing the need for secrecy. As the evening unfolded, Tano found solace in the companionship of the Fardi family, cherishing the semblance of normalcy amidst the turmoil of galactic conflict. Yet beneath the surface, the specter of danger loomed, reminding Tano of the ongoing struggle against oppression and the importance of her role in shaping the galaxy's fate. As Tano continued her work with the Fardi family on Thebesca, she found herself drawn into a new series of events that tested her skills and sense of justice. Spending her days laboring on a large Fardi transport, Tano seized moments alone with Hidala to probe further into the mysterious shadow the young girl had sensed. Hidala's description of the entity, coupled with its sudden disappearance, resonated with Tano's knowledge of the dark side creatures rumored to serve the Emperor. Suspecting that the shadow may pose a threat to Hidala, Tano commended the girl for her caution and urged her to keep silent about the encounter. Despite the potential danger, she chose to remain with the Fardis, finding solace and safety in their company. In the following weeks, Tano's role within the Fardi family expanded as she was tasked with transporting supplies to various branches across Thebesca. However, suspicions arose when Tano realized she might be unwittingly involved in smuggling operations orchestrated by the Fardis. Nevertheless, her loyalty to the family remained steadfast as she accepted off-world transport missions assigned by the Patriarch. During one routine flight, Tano intercepted a distress call from an escape pod, leading her to rescue its occupants who had been targeted by pirates. Learning that the hostages were part of a company embroiled in a corporate rivalry, Tano suspected collusion between the rival firm and the pirates. Determined to thwart their scheme and aid the victims, Tano agreed to assist in rescuing the remaining captives from the clutches of their assailants. In navigating these newfound challenges, Tano demonstrated her unwavering commitment to justice and compassion, reaffirming her role as a guardian against oppression and injustice. Amidst the tension of a stormtrooper search, Tano adeptly navigated the situation by fabricating a story about her recent activities to deflect Imperial suspicion. Presenting herself as a loyal mechanic and pilot, she earned the Fardi's support in corroborating her alibi, ensuring her safety and maintaining her cover. Despite the temporary reprieve, Tano recognized the growing risks of her continued presence on Thebesca, particularly with the Empire's heightened scrutiny. Sensing Fardi's concern and acknowledging the potential danger to Hidala, Tano hinted at the girl's unique sensitivity without explicitly revealing her Force abilities. Expressing her belief in Hidala's special nature and urging caution, Tano subtly conveyed her hope for the girl's protection and potential as a future guardian of the light. With a heavy heart, she bid farewell to the Fardis, knowing that her departure was necessary to safeguard both herself and the family. Embracing Hidala one last time, she imparted words of caution and encouragement, leaving behind a legacy of resilience and hope amid the encroaching shadows of the Empire. Entanglements. Aboard her damaged freighter, Ahsoka Tano faced a perilous confrontation with a relentless Black Sun agent, determined to extract payment for the disruptions caused by her recent smuggling activities. Despite the imminent threat to her life, Tano steadfastly refused to capitulate on the Syndicate's extortion, opting instead to reclaim her true identity and confront her adversaries head-on. Engaging in a fierce dogfight, Tano's freighter sustained critical damage to its starboard engine, leaving her vulnerable to further assault. However, Providence intervened in the form of a larger vessel that interceded on her behalf, repelling the Black Sun ship and offering a brief respite. Her relief was short-lived as she found herself ensnared by the tractor beam of a second ship, unaware of its affiliation. Armed with determination and caution, she prepared to defend herself against potential adversaries. only to be confronted by Tej Tamsin, the pilot sent by Senator Bail Organa to locate her. She was reunited with her faithful astromech companion R2-D2, who provided vital insight into Organa's intentions and confirmed her suspicions regarding the pilot's true allegiance. Trusting R2-D2, Tano devised a plan to evade capture, leveraging her resourcefulness and ingenuity to outmaneuver her pursuers and secure her freedom once more. With her ship repaired and her resolve renewed, Tano embarked on a solitary journey to a remote moon where she could regroup and contemplate her next steps in the ongoing struggle against the tyranny of the Galactic Empire. As she rested beneath the starry expanse of the night sky, Tano remained ever vigilant, mindful of the dangers that lay ahead and the allies who stood by her side in the fight for justice and freedom. A new ally. Ahsoka Tano's unexpected reunion with Senator Organa aboard the Tantive 4 heralded a pivotal moment in her journey, as she found herself presented with an opportunity to join a burgeoning rebellion against the oppressive grip of the Galactic Empire. Clad in a pressure suit and guided by R2-D2, Tano infiltrated Organa's ship where she confronted the Senator in his temporary office. Their conversation, punctuated by the familiarity of R2-D2's presence, quickly turned to matters of grave importance, as Organa revealed his intentions to recruit allies for the nascent rebellion. Addressing Tano by her former title of Padawan, Organa extended an invitation for her to join their cause. Despite her reluctance to assume a leadership role reminiscent of her past as a Jedi commander, Tano expressed a steadfast determination to protect Force-sensitive children imperiled by dark forces lurking within the galaxy. In a shrewd negotiation, she proposed a pact with Organa, leveraging her commitment to safeguarding the vulnerable as a condition for her participation in the rebellion. With a mutual agreement forged between them, Tano and Organa set their sights on a critical mission to Rada, where they would confront the looming specter of Imperial oppression and lay the groundwork for a daring alliance against the Empire's tyranny. Return to Rada. Tano's agreement to undertake a mission to Rada was tempered by the grim revelation of the Sixth Brother's presence, a formidable Imperial agent tasked with hunting down both Tano and the Force-sensitive Hidala. As Senator Organa shared intelligence on the Inquisitor's brutal assault of the Radian insurgents, including the capture of Tano's friend Kaden, the gravity of the situation weighed heavily. Recognizing the urgency of the impending confrontation with the Empire's relentless enforcer, Tano speculated on the Inquisitor's role as a force-wielding instrument of Imperial oppression, deployed to extinguish any flicker of Jedi resistance in the galaxy's darkest corners. Amidst her growing concern for Kaden's safety, Organa offered reassurance tempered with caution, urging Tano to maintain her composure and strategic focus in the face of peril. As Tano grappled with the haunting specter of her past and the harrowing challenges that lay ahead, she found solace with the familiar presence of R2-D2. With lightsaber hilts fashioned from the remnants of her journey, Tano prepared to embark on a perilous journey to Rada, guided by a steadfast commitment to protect the innocent and confront the forces of darkness that threatened to engulf the galaxy. As she embarked on her journey to Rada, she declined Senator Organa's offer of a starship and backup, opting instead to rely on her own resources and instincts in the perilous reaches of the Outer Rim. During her voyage, her path took her near the once hallowed world of Ilum, now scarred by the Empire's insatiable greed and desecration. Witnessing the devastation wrought upon the sacred planet fueled Tano's righteous indignation. Despite the temptation to reclaim her lost lightsabers or retaliate against the Empire's desecration of the planet, Tano remained resolute in her determination to confront the looming threat on Rada. Guided by the resonant call of a kyber crystal attuned to the Force, Tano pressed onward, prepared to confront the shadows of her past and forge a new path forward in the struggle against tyranny. Upon her arrival on Rada, Tano took cautious measures to avoid detection, recognizing the Empire's likely surveillance near the settlement. Journeying on foot to the settlement, she encountered Miara, the lone survivor of the recent tragedy wrought by the Sixth Brother. Despite the grim circumstances, Tano's resolve remained unshaken as she committed to leveraging her Jedi training to aid the oppressed against the Imperials. As she ventured toward the Imperial compound, she entrusted Miara with a critical message for the local resistance, underscoring her determination to rally support. In a tense confrontation with the Sixth Brother near the Imperial compound, Tano deftly evaded the Inquisitor's relentless assault, showcasing her formidable skill in using the Force. Despite the Inquisitor's taunts and the looming threat of Imperial forces, Tano remained resolute. In a daring move, she exploited a vulnerability in the Inquisitor's weapon, causing it to malfunction and ultimately leading to his demise in a fiery explosion. Even in victory, her compassion shone through as she closed the fallen Inquisitor's helmet, a silent gesture of respect for her defeated opponent. Retrieving the kyber crystals from the ruined lightsaber, Tano embarked on a transformative act of redemption. purifying the crystals of their dark influence and imbuing them with a new radiant energy. With the threat of the sixth brother vanquished and the kyber crystals restored to their pure state, Tano stood as a beacon of hope. In a daring rescue mission, Tano wielded her newly purified white lightsabers with skill and determination, carving a path through the Imperial compound to liberate Caden and the other prisoners. With swift and precise movements, she deflected blaster shots and unlocked the cell doors, freeing the captives and leading them to safety. Reuniting with her allies at Zelda's Cantina, Tano coordinated with Captain Antilles and Senator Organa to orchestrate the evacuation of the farmers. As Imperial forces escalated their assault, Tano's quick thinking and formidable abilities were put to the test. She single-handedly confronted Imperial tanks, using her lightsabers and the Force to disable their weapons and protect the fleeing civilians. Despite facing overwhelming odds and witnessing the sacrifice of Vartan and others, Tano remained steadfast in her resolve to save as many lives as possible. Her bravery and selflessness inspired those around her. Ultimately, as the last of the refugees were evacuated and the threat was neutralized, Tano reflected on the challenges ahead. Joining the rebellion. After their conversation, Tano and Senator Bail Organa solidified their alliance against the Empire. Tano, now adopting the codename Fulcrum, became a key player in Organa's rebel network, leveraging her skills and experience to gather intelligence and coordinate resistance efforts across the galaxy. Little did she know, her actions had drawn the attention of Darth Vader, the Sith Lord tasked with hunting down the remaining Jedi. As Tano delved deeper into her new role, she would soon find herself facing off against formidable adversaries and confronting her past in ways she never imagined. Despite her initial intention to leave her past behind and live under a new identity, Ahsoka Tano's efforts to remain hidden as Ashla were thwarted when she was forced to reveal her Jedi abilities to save a farmer. This act of heroism ultimately led to the destruction of the farming village by the Empire and attracted the attention of another Inquisitor. Faced with the threat of the Empire and the resurgence of dark side adversaries, Tano chose to embrace her identity and join the fight against tyranny. Contacting Senator Organa, she agreed to become actively involved in the rebel movement, determined to use her skills and experiences to make a difference. Undercover Messenger. By 5 BBY, Ahsoka Tano had become a crucial member of Senator Bail Organa and Senator Mon Mothma's rebel network, operating under the alias Fulcrum. She served as a liaison between various rebel cells scattered across the galaxy, facilitating the exchange of intelligence and coordinating missions against Imperial targets. One of the rebel cells Tano worked closely with was the crew of the Ghost, led by Hera Syndulla. Tano provided Syndulla and her team with intelligence for their missions, identifying herself only as Fulcrum. However, her information wasn't always complete, leading to some setbacks, such as underestimating Imperial defenses during an attack on an Imperial convoy. Despite maintaining secrecy about her identity, Tano's involvement with the Ghost crew deepened over time. She arranged for the crew to pick up supplies at Fort Anaxis and facilitated the retrieval of crucial Imperial data from a Rodian named Sibo. Tano's assistance proved invaluable as she provided Syndulla with vital information on various missions and potential threats. However, tensions arose within the Ghost crew when one of its members, Sabine Wren, became curious about Fulcrum's identity and the increasingly dangerous missions they were undertaking. Eventually, Tano revealed herself to the crew after rescuing them from Imperial forces following the capture of Kanan Jarrus, urging them to go into hiding to protect their cause. In a subsequent operation to rescue Jarrus from the clutches of the Empire, Tano led Phoenix Cell in providing reinforcements, further solidifying her role within the burgeoning Rebel Alliance. She continued to play a pivotal role in coordinating Rebel activities, eventually integrating the Ghost crew into Phoenix Squadron and aiding them in their fight against the Empire. During their time together, Ahsoka Tano and Ezra Bridger formed a close bond, with Tano serving as a mentor and a guide to the young Jedi apprentice. On one occasion, they traveled to a remote planet where Ezra was practicing his lightsaber skills. As Ezra practiced, Tano surprised him and inquired about the origin of his lightsaber. As Ezra explained how he obtained his weapon, Tano took the lightsaber and removed the kyber crystal, prompting Ezra to ask how it felt to possess such a rare and powerful weapon. Not satisfied with his response, Tano decided to teach him a lesson by tossing the crystal into a nearby field, much to Ezra's dismay. As Ezra scrambled to retrieve his crystal, Tano activated her own lightsaber and began to spar with him, allowing him to focus on using the Force to evade her attacks while searching for his crystal. Despite feeling defenseless at first, Ezra eventually located the crystal and activated his lightsaber just in time to block Tano's blade. With the lesson learned and his crystal retrieved, Ezra and Tano shared a moment of laughter, strengthening their bond and deepening Ezra's understanding of the Force and his role as a Jedi apprentice. After receiving a distress signal from one of Sabine Wren's old friends, Jannard, who had helped her escape from the Imperial Academy of Mandalore, Ahsoka Tano decided to join Hera Syndulla and Sabine on a mission to rescue him. As they approached the ocean planet where the distress signal originated, Tano and Sabine prepared to dive into the water with their scuba gear. Sabine explained the importance of Jannard to her, and Tano reassured reassured her, drawing on her experiences with underwater operations during the Clone Wars. Inside the crashed freighter on the ocean floor, Tano and Sabine encountered various obstacles, including a fallen beam blocking their path. Using Tano's lightsabers, they cleared the way and continued their search for Jannard. However, they were attacked by an eel, which damaged Sabine's oxygen tanks. Tano quickly intervened, providing Sabine with oxygen and ensuring her safety. After freeing Jannard from Imperial custody, the trio faced more challenges as stormtroopers arrived on the scene. Tano and Sabine fought off the attackers while attempting to escape the flooding ship. Eventually, they reached the bridge and attempted to send a distress signal, but their efforts were hindered by the arrival of another Imperial cruiser. As the situation escalated, Hera arrived with the Ghost to provide assistance. However, Jannard was fatally shot before they could escape. Despite their loss, Tano reminded Sabine that sacrifices were inevitable in war, offering her words of wisdom and comfort. Back on the Ghost, Tano and Hera tried to console Sabine, acknowledging the pain of losing a friend, but also emphasizing the importance of remembering Jannard's bravery and heroism. Through this ordeal, Tano continued to serve as a mentor and source of guidance for Sabine and the rest of the crew. Reuniting with Rex. Following the destruction of their flagship, Phoenix Home, the rebel forces found themselves in dire straits. Ahsoka Tano suggested seeking out an old ally, the former clone Captain Rex, whose whereabouts she believed to be in the Selos system. Despite her previous attempts to contact him going unanswered, she believed Rex might be able to provide valuable assistance to their cause. Providing the crew of the Ghost with the head of an old tactical droid for their mission, she instructed them to trust her friend and seek him out on the desert planet of Selos. When questioned by Ezra about why she couldn't accompany them, Tano cryptically remarked that she needed to answer questions that needed answering, hinting at her own personal mission or journey she needed to undertake. After overcoming obstacles, the crew of the Ghost managed to locate and persuade Rex to join their cause. He provided them with a data card containing valuable information on Republic installations in the Outer Rim and Mandalore. Despite facing an Imperial assault during their encounter, Rex ultimately agreed to join the rebellion. Upon their return from Selos, Tano reunited with Rex, who remarked on her aging appearance. Tano accepted this observation with grace, acknowledging that it was inevitable. The two shared a heartfelt embrace, rekindling their friendship after many years apart. More adventures on Lothal. With the information obtained from Rex's data card, the Phoenix rebels embarked on a salvaging mission to an abandoned Republic medical station. Little did they know, this mission would bring them face to face with two more Inquisitors, the 7th sister and the 5th brother. These dark side adepts were aware of Tano's existence and sought to extract any information about her from Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren. However, the rebels managed to evade capture with the timely intervention of Garazeb Aurelios, who provided them with the opportunity to escape from the clutches of the Inquisitors. Despite the danger posed by the presence of these formidable foes, the rebels successfully fled from the abandoned medical station, preserving their secrets and eluding the grasp of the Empire once again. While monitoring transmissions from Mustafar, Ahsoka Tano uncovered a sinister secondary mission of the Empire's Inquisitors, the kidnapping of Force-sensitive children. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Tano traveled to the planet Geril to inform Kanan Jarrus of her discovery. Upon arrival, she shared her findings and decoded 2 sets of coordinates, tasking him with investigating one while she pursued the other. Following the first set of coordinates, Tano arrived on the planet Chandel, where she encountered an elderly woman named Darja. Distraught, Darja revealed that her grandchild, Alora, had been abducted by the 7th sister and 5th brother. Promising to find and rescue the child, Tano comforted the grandmother and embarked on her mission. Meanwhile, Jarrus and his team traced the second set of coordinates to a flat in Hammertown, a settlement on the planet Takobo. There, they successfully rescued Alora and another Force-sensitive child. However, their mission was soon complicated by the arrival of the 7th sister and 5th brother. Engaging in a tense confrontation, the rebels found themselves outnumbered and outmatched by the Inquisitors. However, Tano arrived just in time to intervene, engaging the Inquisitors in a fierce lightsaber duel. Utilizing her formidable skills and mastery of the Force, she managed to defeat the 2 Inquisitors. As Imperial reinforcements closed in, Tano coordinated the rebels' escape from Takobo aboard the Phantom. Reflecting on the perilous situation and the vulnerability of Force-sensitive children without the protection of the Jedi Order, Tano reaffirmed her commitment to the rebellion as their only hope for safeguarding these vulnerable individuals. After encountering the Inquisitors on Usalon and realizing their presence was jeopardizing the rebellion's search for a base, Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger met with Ahsoka Tano on the Ghost to strategize. While awaiting their arrival, Tano viewed a holocron of Skywalker demonstrating lightsaber combat, which intrigued Ezra when he joined her. Ezra inquired about Skywalker's fate, and Tano, evasive, mentioned seeing him during the rescue of Chancellor Palpatine, but admitted she didn't know what happened to him afterward during the Jedi Purge. Reflecting on challenging times, Tano expressed a wish to seek advice from Kenobi or Yoda. Jarrus later arrived, expressing concerns, and revealed that he and Ezra had communed with Yoda in the Lothal Jedi Temple. They decided to return there aboard the Phantom. Tano declined to assist them in raising the temple entrance, emphasizing her disassociation from the Jedi. Instead, Jarrus and Bridger raised the temple themselves, uncovering a new door beneath the original entrance. Inside, each of them experienced individual visions. Tano confronted a version of Skywalker who reproached her for leaving and accused her of abandonment. The vision shifted to that of Darth Vader, implying Skywalker's fall to the dark side. Struggling with her emotions, Tano lashed out with her lightsaber, tormented by the possibility of her former master's transformation into Vader. As the Inquisitors closed in, the temple's visions manifested as Jedi Temple guards, providing a distraction and allowing Tano and the Jedi to escape. While fleeing, Tano saw an apparition of Yoda on Dagobah, offering a comforting gesture. Back on the Phantom, Ezra revealed that Yoda had instructed him to find Malachor. Tano clarified that Malachor was a planet, not a person, and the group set course for their next destination, Twilight of the Apprentice. Tano then joined Jarrus and Bridger on their journey to Malachor. Before their departure, Bridger confided in Tano about his encounter with the Krykna, and she explained the mysterious nature of the Force, which only deepened as one delved into its depths. Bridger followed Tano back to their camp where they prepared for their journey. During their travel to Malachor, Rex contacted Tano, offering to join them on their mission. However, Tano declined his offer. As they conversed, Tano moved to the cockpit, where Bridger inquired about Rex's concern. Jarrus explained the legends surrounding Malachor and the Jedi's avoidance of the planet, hinting at the dangers they might face. Upon arriving at Malachor, Tano revealed their quest for knowledge to defeat the Sith. Before landing, they detected another ship on the planet, indicating someone else sought the same objective. Landing near strange obelisks, they encountered ancient Sith writing, and as Tano translated them, Bridger was ensnared by their hypnotic effect, leading him to an underground Sith temple. Inside, they discovered a battlefield frozen in time, with petrified figures and an ancient cross-guard lightsaber. They were ambushed by the Eighth Brother, leading to a confrontation where Bridger was separated from Tano and Jarrus. Meanwhile, Chopper located the Inquisitor's ship, and Tano and Jarrus pursued him. After capturing the Inquisitor and interrogating him, they learned that he was hunting a shadow. Meanwhile, Bridger and a companion, Maul, retrieved a Sith holocron, triggering the temple's activation. In the ensuing chaos, they encountered the Seventh Sister and Fifth Brother, leading to a fierce battle. As Maul revealed Vader's imminent arrival and attacked Jarrus, Tano intervened, engaging Maul in combat. Realizing Vader's imminent threat, Tano left Maul with Jarrus and rushed to the top of the temple. However, Maul blindsided Jarrus before Tano intervened, leading to a confrontation where Tano ultimately saved Jarrus and fought off Maul, who was thrown off the temple by Jarrus. In a climactic confrontation at the summit of the temple, Ahsoka Tano confronted Darth Vader, who was about to execute Ezra Bridger. Vader offered Tano a chance to save herself by revealing the location of any remaining Jedi, but she defiantly asserted that they had all been killed by him and his Inquisitors. When Vader dismissed her claim and threatened to torture Bridger for the information, Tano expressed disgust at Vader's cruelty, questioning if he could truly be her former master, Anakin Skywalker. Vader denied any connection to Skywalker, declaring him weak and claiming to have destroyed him. Enraged, Tano vowed to avenge Skywalker's death and attacked Vader. Their duel was intense and prolonged, culminating in Vader blasting Tano off a ledge with the Force. However, she survived the fall and resumed her attack, managing to wound Vader's mask above his right eye. As Jarrus and Bridger escaped, Tano confronted Vader once more, and as his damaged mask revealed the face of her former master beneath, she addressed him as Anakin, expressing her refusal to abandon him again. Vader, however, coldly rejected her sentiment, affirming that she would die. They continued their battle as the temple began to collapse, trapping Tano within its ruins. Following the mission, Bridger blamed himself for Tano's apparent demise, but Jarrus reassured him that the outcome was not his fault. Despite the uncertainty surrounding her fate, Tano's sacrifice left a lasting impact on those who knew her, as they grappled with the consequences of their actions and the loss of their friend and mentor. War Between Worlds. In a dramatic turn of events, the duel between Ahsoka Tano and Darth Vader took an unexpected twist. As the holocron chamber locked down and Vader pressed his advantage against Tano, he was momentarily distracted by the energy discharges from the damaged holocron dock. Seeking this opportunity, Tano used the Force to destabilize the floor beneath both herself and Vader, creating an opening. As Vader prepared to strike her down, a portal suddenly appeared behind Tano, and Ezra Bridger, now 2 years older, reached out and pulled her into the mysterious dimension. Confused by her surroundings, Tano realized that Bridger had saved her and questioned him about their location and the fate of Kanan Jarrus. Bridger explained the situation, expressing his determination to save his master as well. However, Tano warned him of the consequences, emphasizing that Jarrus' sacrifice had saved their lives. Despite Bridger's reluctance, Tano urged him to let go of his master, drawing a parallel to her own experience with Anakin Skywalker. As Bridger reluctantly accepted the truth, they attempted to leave the dimension. However, they encountered a deceptive portal created by Darth Sidious, who sought to manipulate manipulate Bridger into allowing the Emperor to enter the world. Tano intervened, using the Force to protect Bridger and free him while he was ensnared by energy tendrils. Eventually, they were separated, but not before promising to meet again in the future. Returning to Malachor, Tano descended into a dark tunnel accompanied by her convor friend Morai. She followed a series of steps deeper into the tunnel, eventually reaching a stream where Morai awaited her. Together, they entered another portal leading to the world between worlds, a mystical plane of existence. Tano embarked on a spiritual journey that would reshape her destiny, while Morai left the temple and caught the attention of Vader, who assumed Tano to be dead, marking the end of the Great Jedi Purge. In the aftermath of the Galactic Civil War and the liberation of Lothal, Ahsoka Tano continued her quest to find Ezra Bridger, who had sacrificed himself to protect his friends by disappearing into hyperspace with Imperial Grand Admiral Thrawn aboard a pot of Purgil. Joined by Sabine Wren, Tano embarked on a search mission to the unknown regions. During their journey, Tano and Wren reunited with Huyang, the ancient architect droid who joined them aboard their ship, the T6-1974. Despite Wren's lack of Force sensitivity, Tano decided to train her as a Padawan, marking the beginning of their mentor-student relationship. However, their training dynamic eventually soured, leading to their parting ways on strained terms. Wren later accused Tano of giving up on her training, while Tano believed that Wren was not yet fully prepared to embrace the path of a Jedi. Following their disagreement, Wren returned to Lothal, while Tano continued her search for Ezra, residing aboard her T6 ship. Thrawn Campaign. In 9 ABY, several years after her last encounter with Wren, Tano resumed her search for Grand Admiral Thrawn, following a lead that took her to the forested planet of Corvus. Tano's primary objective on Corvus was to gather information on Thrawn's whereabouts as part of her ongoing quest to locate Ezra Bridger. Upon arriving on Corvus, Tano made her way to the city of Caladan, ruled by Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth, a former apprentice of Thrawn who controlled the city with her army. Meanwhile, Bo-Katan Kryze, aware of Tano's mission, directed the Mandalorian Din Djarin to Corvus to seek Tano's assistance in delivering an infant of the same species as Yoda to the Jedi. As Tano ventured towards Caladan, she encountered fierce resistance from Elsbeth's scout guards, who launched an attack on her. Tano managed to defeat the guards and force them to retreat. Employing tactics such as using the fog-filled forest to her advantage and wielding her white lightsabers with precision, Tano skillfully dispatched the guards one by one. Despite the overwhelming odds, Tano continued her advance towards Caladan, cutting through the guards with determination. When Elsbeth confronted her from atop the city walls, Tano remained resolute, refusing to back down in her pursuit of information. Elsbeth attempted to intimidate Tano by threatening the lives of the city's inhabitants, but Tano remained steadfast, emphasizing the suffering caused by Elsbeth's oppressive rule. In response to Elsbeth's defiance, Tano issued an ultimatum, giving her 1 day to surrender before facing the consequences of her actions. With a determined resolve, Tano retreated into the mist, leaving Elsbeth to contemplate her next move. At nightfall, after the intense encounter with the scout guards, Tano found herself in a deep forest where she stumbled upon Din Djarin, the Mandalorian. Seeing him as a potential threat, Tano initiated an attack with her lightsabers, but Djarin managed to defend himself using his wrist gauntlets. Despite Tano's aggression, Djarin recognized her and informed her that Bo-Katan had sent him, seeking Tano's help. As they conversed, she noticed Grogu, the youngling of the same species as Yoda, sitting nearby. Intrigued by Grogu, Tano and Djarin engaged in a conversation about the child's past and abilities. Tano learned that Grogu had been raised in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant and had been trained by many Jedi Masters. However, his memory became clouded after he was hidden away during the fall of the Jedi Order. Tano explained the nature of the Force to Djarin, emphasizing Grogu's connection to it and his potential for wielding its power. She also acknowledged the danger posed by the Empire, which continued to hunt down Force-sensitive individuals like Grogu. Despite Djarin's initial skepticism, Tano agreed to help him and Grogu evade the Empire. The next morning, Tano attempted to assess Grogu's abilities by testing his connection to the Force. However, she discovered that Grogu had suppressed his powers out of fear and trauma. Recognizing the attachment between Grogu and Djarin, Tano hesitated to train him, fearing his emotional vulnerability could lead him down a dangerous path. Tano refused to train Grogu, citing the risks involved and her own past experiences with attachment and the dark side of the Force. Despite Djarin's insistence, Tano remained firm in her decision, emphasizing the importance of protecting Grogu from the temptations of the dark side. However, when Djarin offered to help Tano save the inhabitants of Caladan in exchange for her assistance in training Grogu, she reluctantly agreed. With their newfound alliance forged, Tano and Djarin set out together to confront Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth and rescue the people of Caladan. As they made their way back, they discussed the formidable forces under Elsbeth's control. Tano acknowledged the danger posed by Elsbeth's army, including HK-87 assassin droids, scout guards, and the skilled gunfighter Lang. Djarin expressed concern about Tano's ability to defend herself against such overwhelming firepower, but she assured him that he should also be wary of Elsbeth herself. Tano revealed Elsbeth's background to Djarin, explaining how her home had been destroyed during the Clone Wars, leading to her alliance with the Empire and her reign of terror. Despite the burned forest serving as a reminder of Elsbeth's atrocities, Tano remained determined to confront her and rescue the imprisoned villagers. Tano swiftly engaged Elsbeth's forces, using her lightsabers to fend off the Scout Guards and HK-87 assassin droids. As the confrontation escalated, Tano confronted Elsbeth directly, engaging her in a fierce duel within the city's garden. Tano matched Elsbeth's attacks, eventually disarming her and demanding information about Grand Admiral Thrawn's whereabouts. After defeating Elsbeth and liberating Caladan, Tano and Djarin emerged victorious, with the citizens celebrating their newfound freedom. Tano presented Djarin with Elsbeth's Beskar spear as a token of their alliance, but he humbly declined, believing that he hadn't fully completed their agreement. As Djarin prepared to depart with Grogu, Tano expressed her inability to train the youngling due to his attachment to Djarin. She recommended that he take Grogu to the planet Tython and place him on the Seeing Stone at the ancient temple ruins, where he could reach out to the Force and potentially attract the attention of a Jedi. With a heartfelt farewell, Tano watched as Djarin and Grogu departed, visiting Ossus. After the events surrounding Grogu's training with Luke Skywalker on Ossus, Ahsoka Tano resumed her quest to locate Grand Admiral Thrawn. She parted ways with Skywalker, expressing her gratitude for his role in training Grogu and acknowledging the possibility of their paths crossing again. Searching for Thrawn, Ahsoka Tano's quest to locate Grand Admiral Thrawn led her to pursue leads on the planet Arcana, where she located the ruins of an ancient stronghold rumored to contain a map to Thrawn's alleged location in the galaxy of Peridea. Upon arriving at the ruins, Tano employed her skills and intuition to navigate through the hidden chambers and uncover secrets within. Using her lightsabers to access a chamber beneath the ruins, Tano encountered carved figures and mysterious artifacts that hinted at the presence of the map she sought. Employing a force ability that allowed her to sense the history and significance of objects, Tano manipulated pillars and activated orbs to reveal a stony object containing a golden orb, likely the key to finding Thrawn. However, Tano's discovery was interrupted by the appearance of a red HK assassin droid, accompanied by a group of electro-staff-wielding assassin droids. Tano swiftly engaged in combat, utilizing her lightsabers with precision to fend off the attackers. Despite her skill, the situation became dire when the assassin droids initiated their self-destruct protocols, forcing her to retreat. Escaping the ruins with the assistance of her companion Huyang, Tano reflected on the communication difficulties they faced and the dangers they encountered. After receiving an urgent transmission from New Republic Fleet Command regarding an attack led by Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, Tano and Huyang swiftly made their way to Home 1, the flagship of the New Republic fleet. Upon arrival, they were greeted by General Hera Syndulla, who briefed them on the situation. Syndulla explained the extent of the damage caused by Skoll and Hati, detailing their ruthless assault on the security detail and the sabotage of a new starship. Tano, unfamiliar with the attackers, noted their proficiency in the Force, prompting Huyang to speculate that one of them may have been a Jedi. Tano instructed him to scan the lightsabers of Skoll and Hati for further analysis. When Syndulla inquired about the mercenaries' connection to Morgan Elsbeth, Tano revealed that Elsbeth had hired them for plausible deniability. She also presented Syndulla with the Golden Orb, revealing Elsbeth's interest in the map it was believed to activate, leading to the location of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Syndulla expressed surprise at Thrawn's survival since the Battle of Lothal, prompting Tano to explain the rumors she had heard regarding his survival. Syndulla then questioned whether this meant Ezra Bridger was alive, to which Tano admitted uncertainty. As Syndulla expressed interest in examining the map, Huyang admitted that the key required to activate it eluded him. Syndulla, accustomed to the complexities of dealing with Jedi, remarked on the non-linear nature of their endeavors. However, before they could delve further into the matter, Syndulla was summoned by the Defense Council, leaving Tano uncertain of their next steps. Syndulla assured Tano that she knew someone who could help, motivated by a loyalty to Bridger. Later that day, Governor Ryder Azadi addressed the citizens of Lothal during a celebration marking the anniversary of the planet's liberation. Sabine Wren, who was expected to speak at the event, failed to appear and instead returned to the communications tower. Ahsoka Tano arrived on Lothal and parked her T6 shuttle near a ledge on a high tower. Wren arrived while Tano was speaking with Governor Azadi. Azadi mentioned Wren's absence at the previous day's ceremony, to which Wren casually replied that it had slipped her mind. Azadi expressed that everyone had missed her, but Wren retorted that not everyone had been present. Huyang also greeted Sabine. Azadi then encouraged Wren to listen to what Tano had to say before departing. Alone with Wren, Tano revealed that she knew a way to locate Bridger, showing her the orb as she explained. The two retreated to Tano's T6 Jedi shuttle to discuss the matter further. Inside, Wren observed wall drawings, including one of a Lothcat on a bunk. She questioned Tano about her certainty regarding Bridger's whereabouts, to which Tano admitted that while nothing was certain, their enemy's pursuit of Thrawn had led them to the map. Tano explained that she discovered the map on Arcana, a planet with a history as a Night Sister stronghold. Due to Ren's artistic skills, Tano sought her help in deciphering the map. Ren suspected that there was a code embedded within it. Tano shared a scan of the Night Sister temple chamber where they had found the map. When Ren inquired about Tano's concept of home, she described it as a feeling within her soul. The conversation turned slightly tense as both women subtly blamed each other for making things difficult. Tano responded by stating that the Jedi path was inherently challenging. Their discussion was interrupted by an update from Huyang. Ren requested permission to take the map for further study, but Tano refused, emphasizing that the map was not only about finding Bridger, but also about preventing another war. She insisted that the map remain aboard the ship before heading to the lab to confer with Huyang. In the lab, Huyang informed Tano that one of the lightsaber hilts he had scanned belonged to Baylan Skoll, who had disappeared at the end of the Clone Wars after being Jedi trained. Huyang warned Tano that Skoll wouldn't be alone for long. When Tano returned to the briefing room, she discovered that Ren had already taken the map despite her instructions. Back on Ahsoka's T6 shuttle, Tano and Huyang conversed with General Syndulla via holoprojector about Ren's actions. Tano expressed her concern for Ren, but Syndulla advised giving her some space, acknowledging that Ren was their best hope for deciphering the map. Tano admitted to having a difficult relationship with Ren, describing her as stubborn and bullish. Syndulla attributed these traits to Ren's Mandalorian background and suggested that mentoring her could be challenging, drawing parallels to Anakin Skywalker's experiences. Tano confessed to walking away from her Jedi training and from Ren as well. Meanwhile, Ren continued her efforts to solve the puzzle of the star map in her home. Eventually, she began to understand how to translate it and succeeded in doing so. However, as Ren looked out over the balcony, she was suddenly attacked by Imperial forces. She contacted Tano for help before engaging in a fight with her assailants. Huyang interrupted Tano and informed them that they had received communications from Ren, who was being hunted down by HK droids led by Shin Hati. Tano and Huyang quickly piloted the ship and flew towards Ren's tower. As Hati and Ren dueled, Hati managed to stab Ren through the abdomen, leaving her gravely wounded. Upon the arrival of the ship, Hati fled with the map while Tano rushed to tend to Ren, who laid injured on the floor. Ren was quickly brought aboard the ship by Tano and Huyang, where she would receive urgent medical attention. Ren, having survived Hati's assault, regains her strength and shares her discoveries with Ahsoka. She also tracks the attacking droids back to Elsbeth's factories on Corellia, revealing a crucial lead. Eager to retrieve the map, Ahsoka and Syndulla embark on a journey to the Corellian shipyards. There, they stumble upon a massive hyperdrive project under Imperial supervision. While Syndulla pursues the transport ferrying the hyperdrive, Ahsoka engages in a fierce lightsaber duel with Marek, a former Inquisitor aligned with Elsbeth. Despite their efforts, the Inquisitor and the transport slip away, but not without Syndulla's astromech droid Chopper attaching a tracking device. With the shipyard workers apprehended, Ahsoka receives a transmission from Ren, who, having recovered and shed her locks, expresses her readiness to once again take up the mantle of Ahsoka's Padawan. Together, they aim to locate Bridger. Ren embarks on a challenging journey of retraining under the guidance of Ahsoka and Huyang, grappling with her frustration over her lack of force sensitivity. Ahsoka, Ren, and Huyang venture to Cetos independently, intent on uncovering the truth. Upon arrival, they confront the formidable Eye of Sion, only to be met with fierce opposition from Hati, Marek, and Elsbeth's forces. Amidst the chaos of battle, Ahsoka's shuttle sustains heavy damage, forcing an emergency landing on the planet's surface. Evading enemy fighters, they navigate through a perilous path, seeking refuge in the dense forest. As they regroup in the safety of the Woodland Sanctuary, Huyang provides a comprehensive analysis of the Ion Sion's capabilities, revealing its function as a cruiser-sized hyperspace ring engineered for intergalactic travel. However, their respite is short-lived as Hati's forces close in on their hiding place, prompting Skoll to launch a relentless pursuit through the forest depths. They manage to fend off their assailants. Recognizing the urgency of preventing Elsbeth and Skoll from obtaining Thrawn's coordinates, they set out for the enemy base. However, their path is obstructed by Hati and Marek, leading to a deadly confrontation. Ahsoka eliminates Marek and proceeds onward alone, leaving Ren to confront Hati, who discerns her lack of force sensitivity. As Ahsoka confronts Skoll, a fierce duel ensues. Despite retrieving the map, Ahsoka discards it when it burns her hand. When Skoll hurls Ahsoka into the depths of the ocean, Ren finds herself at a critical juncture, holding the map at gunpoint. Skoll manipulates her vulnerability by promising to lead her to Bridger, prompting Ren to surrender the map. With Thrawn's location revealed, Skoll destroys the map to prevent pursuit, departing with Ren as his captive. Ahsoka awakens in the enigmatic world between worlds, where she encounters her former master, Anakin Skywalker. While scouring Cetos for Ahsoka and Ren alongside his mother, Jacen Syndulla experiences a profound revelation. He senses Ahsoka's presence in the mystical world between worlds, unveiling his latent connection with the Force. Within this ethereal realm, Anakin Skywalker imparts wisdom to Ahsoka, revealing that he's been monitoring her journey through the Force. He identifies her struggle against Skoll as stemming from unresolved guilt over their past separation. In a poignant duel within the this transcendent space, Ahsoka grapples with fragments of her tumultuous past during the Clone Wars, grappling with the fear that her legacy will be overshadowed by conflict. However, she ultimately rejects the notion that her destiny is intertwined with Anakin's tragic transformation into Darth Vader. As she embraces her own path, Ahsoka resolves to persist in her fight for justice. Rescued by Syndulla's crew, Ahsoka discovers through her innate abilities that Ren is in the clutches of Skull. Mothma's revelation of impending capture by the New Republic forces prompts Ahsoka to take decisive action. Enlisting the aid of a pot of Purgil, she, along with Huyang, sets out on a dangerous mission to reunite with Bridger and Ren. As they depart, Syndulla, Jacen, and Chopper remain behind. The Great Mothers detect the imminent arrival of Ahsoka, prompting Thrawn to demand a comprehensive account of her storied past from Elsbeth. Anticipating a confrontation, Thrawn mobilizes his defenses in preparation for Ahsoka's impending arrival. As Ahsoka and Huyang journey towards Peridea aboard the Purgil, they encounter a hazardous minefield deployed by Thrawn's forces, prompting the Purgil to retreat. Undeterred, Ahsoka and Huyang press on alone, only to come under attack by enemy fighters, forcing them to seek refuge amidst a labyrinth of debris. Ahsoka, guided by the Force, locates Ren and sets course for the planet's surface. Bridger, Ren, and the Noti find themselves besieged by Hati, local bandits, and Thrawn's night troopers. Skull, driven by his own agenda, departs from the fray. Ahsoka's timely intervention compels Thrawn to withdraw his remaining forces, 1111, signaling his imminent departure. As Ahsoka extends an invitation to Hati to join them, the disillusioned warrior opts to flee. Ahsoka reunites with Ren and Bridger, their reunion a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. In a bid to confront the Jedi, Elsbeth is bestowed with Mother Talzin's sword by the Great Mothers, while Bridger constructs a new lightsaber from spare parts salvaged from his late master, Kanan Jarrus. Their journey takes a perilous turn when their ship sustains damage from a fighter attack, forcing Ahsoka, Ren, and Bridger to traverse on foot to the Chimera, which is docked with the Eye of Sion. Upon reaching their destination, they face off against Elsbeth and her night troopers, who are continually resurrected by the Great Mothers. In a daring move, Ren utilizes the Force to aid Bridger in boarding the Chimera, while she stays behind to assist Ahsoka. In the ensuing confrontation, Ahsoka ultimately vanquishes Elsbeth. However, their triumph is short-lived as the Eye of Sion abruptly jumps to hyperspace, leaving Ahsoka, Ren, and Huyang stranded on Peridea. As events unfold, Hati aligns himself with the bandits, while Skull is led to a mountain by a statue of the Mortis gods. Meanwhile, Thrawn and the Great Mothers converge over Dathomir, setting the stage for a pivotal confrontation. Left to forge their own path, Ahsoka, Ren, and Huyang find solace with the Noti and establish a new home on Peridea under the watchful gaze of Anakin's Force spirit. Legacy. Ahsoka Tano's legacy continued to echo throughout the galaxy long after her time. Luke Skywalker chronicled her journey in his personal journal during his exile on Ahch-To, recognizing her significance as a pivotal figure in the Jedi Order. Additionally, Hondo Ohnaka, former adversary and occasional ally of Tano, mentioned her in his book, The Galactic Explorer's Guide, noting her connection to Jedi Master Luminara Unduli. During the climactic Battle of Exegol, when Rey faced the resurrected Darth Sidious and was on the brink of defeat, she heard the voices of Ahsoka Tano and other departed Jedi. Their words of encouragement provided Rey with the strength and resolve needed to rise up and ultimately triumph over Sidious. Even in the distant future, when a member of the Whills began recording galactic history in the Journal of the Whills for a faraway audience, Ahsoka Tano was acknowledged as someone whose legacy deserved to be remembered and honored for generations to come. And that, my friends, is Ahsoka's life from beginning to end. For now anyways. There's always more on the way. So, what did you think? Did you enjoy this video? What's your favorite Ahsoka storyline? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.